Chapter 2139. Goodbye, classmate. Lin Ling smiled. I know, I just feel like I owe her a favor. This handkerchief, if there's a chance, I want to return it to her. First love is beautiful, but unfortunately, reality is also cruel, so Lin Ling slowly accepted the reality. And the peaceful days passed just like that. What surprised Lin Ling was that the energy in his mind was getting stronger and stronger, as if it would explode at any time. This made him want to go to the hospital, but in the end, he didn't want to be a lab rat, so he suppressed that thought. On this day, the two of them opened a stall in the night market as usual. The so-called stall was actually a barbecue stall. And this barbecue stall was also the beginning of their dreams. As time passed, the streets gradually became lively, so Lin Ling and Huang Wei's business was extremely good. Please give me a string of chives. At this moment, a clear voice came from the stall, making Lin Ling smile and nod. When he looked up, he was stunned. There were 3 people in front of him, all of them were about 18 or 19 years old, and they were dressed fashionably, holding the latest iPhone 7 in their hands. These 3 were clearly the representatives of fair, rich, and beautiful women. However, Lin Ling stared at one of the women. That woman looked very gentle, her skin was very white, and at this moment, she was also looking at Lin Ling in astonishment. It's you. Lin Ling smiled and finally said, Don't worry. I also didn't expect it to be you. That woman also smiled and said, looking at Lin Ling's stall, and said, My sisters suddenly wanted to eat these things. In fact, I don't think it's clean, but I didn't expect to see you when I followed them. It was unknown whether it was a matter of luck or Lin Ling's bad luck, because this woman was actually Lu Miaodong. Huang Wei smiled bitterly at the side. Lin Ling's current appearance was seen by Lu Miaodong. Lin Ling must be very embarrassed. Miaodong, who is this? He looks very handsome, but a little down. The 2 women beside Lu Miaodong also asked curiously. My former classmate. Lu Miaodong smiled. Oh, so you're classmates. But you both graduated from the same school. How come after graduation, one is the sky and the other is the earth? The 2 beauties shrugged their shoulders, but their words were filled with disdain. They simply looked down on Lin Ling. Hearing this, Huang Wei secretly shook his head. Lin Ling had lost a lot of face this time. No matter what, Lin Ling and Lu Miaodong could be considered childhood sweethearts. In the end, one was still the daughter of a rich family, while the other was running a stall on the street. If the 2 of them did not meet, it would have been fine. But if they did, this silent slap in the face was very satisfying. However, when he looked at Lin Ling, he found that Lin Ling's reaction was very calm, without any awkwardness. And when Lu Miaodong saw Lin Ling's indifferent expression, she couldn't help but be surprised. Lin Ling actually didn't feel inferior. In fact, she quite liked this boy when she was young because he was very hardworking. With his perseverance and diligence, he didn't lose to anyone in his studies. Unfortunately, as she grew up, she gradually realized that this society was all about money. And Lin Ling was obviously a poor ghost. That was also why she gradually distanced herself from Lin Ling. Today, when she saw Lin Ling again, she thought that Lin Ling would show a humble smile and treat her as a white swan. However, Lin Ling did not. Actually, are you interested in joining our company? After all, compared to doing this, our company is indeed much better. Suppressing the thoughts in her heart, Lu Miaodong's Hongyan's small mouth moved. Then there's no need. This profession is actually quite free. Lin Ling replied with a smile and handed over the roasted chives. The whole process was free and easy. In fact, if it was the previous Lin Ling, right now, he would certainly be very embarrassed and feel very ashamed. But for some reason, after experiencing that dream, he didn't seem to care about these gazes at all. Instead, he seemed to be doing things his own way. This profession, although free, but there's no future. Lu Miaodong frowned. She didn't know why, but she didn't like Lin Ling's attitude very much. Because, in the past, she also liked this boy, so she wanted to see Lin Ling's admiring gaze more than this indifference. Freedom is good. Lin Ling shook his head and said. This made Lu Miaodong's anger more and more, but she still smiled and said, "Next month is my birthday. We've known each other for a long time, so I hope you can come. As for the gift, it's good that you have the heart." "Miaodong, you actually invited him? You should know that young Master Li was prepared to give you a Maserati, but you rejected him. If this kid comes, he won't give you a bunch of chives." Hearing Lu Miaodong's words, the FRB next to her was surprised. Her words were direct and did not consider Lin Ling and Huang Wei's self-esteem at all. And the fact was indeed so. Huang Wei somewhat couldn't bear it. Inviting them, was this to embarrass them? However, Lin Ling's reaction was still calm. "Okay, some things, it's time to return to you." In his hand, the handkerchief quietly appeared. He felt that it was time to end things. Leaving in his heart, after all, was just an inner demon. "Okay, I'll wait for you." Lu Miaodong obviously did not care about the things in Lin Ling's mouth. After laughing, she left with her best friend. On the way, Lu Miaodong received a phone call, and slightly raised her voice to reply, "Dad, did the Snow Yi Group agree to cooperate with our company?" "That's great, that's an order of 80 million. Come back quickly, Snow Yi Group CEO Lu, he seems to have recovered from his illness. Now, Shaoguan City's famous people are congratulating him." "Okay." The sound of high heels, with pride, disappeared in the street. And the street was silent. Snow Yi Group? This is the city's #1 group. It can be said that the whole city is controlled by this group. If this group wants to close a company, it's just a matter of moving their eyebrows. Moreover, not only in business, but also in other areas of the city. What a proud swan, talking about the Snow Yi Group, as if knowing the Snow Yi Group is something. And an order of 80 million, shouting so loudly, are you afraid that the whole street can't hear you? After Lu Miaodong and the others disappeared, Huang Wei unwillingly said. Of course, he was just saying. In fact, if he was given 80 million, he would be so excited that he couldn't sleep for a year. Everyone has their own circle of life, don't worry about it. Lin Ling smiled and shook his head. You are too calm. If it were me, I would have already scolded. So what if you have money, why do you look down on people? Huang Wei was still chattering, if it were up to me, don't go to her birthday, you will only be laughed at. What they think is none of my business, I just want to settle the matter in my heart. Lin Ling said unhurriedly, and then continued to busy himself. However, what happened before seemed to be just the beginning. After only an hour, a few familiar figures slowly walked in the street, and what they talked about was nothing more than cars, houses, and so on. Chapter 2140. He's your father. This voice was naturally noticed by Huang Wei. When he looked over, his expression immediately turned ugly. Xiao Wenda, Luo Laizhu, Luo Hua, what bad luck. The three of them were dressed rather brightly. They were Lin Ling's classmates. After graduation, Lin Ling did not have much contact with his classmates. Occasionally, he would hear news about how a certain classmate was doing, or that a certain classmate had become a manager, etc. The innocence she had when she was studying in the past had disappeared. What was left behind was competition. Hey, Lin Ling, Huang Wei. At this time, a surprised voice sounded. Among the three people, a plump man stared at Lin Ling. This person was called Luo Laizhu. If Lin Ling remembered correctly, he seemed to be the manager of a mobile phone brand. Hee, old classmate. The other two also walked over with a smile, but their gazes were strange. In the past, Lin Ling was an extremely low-key existence in the class. Over time, no one looked up to him. After graduation, Lin Ling was still the same. Moreover, he was an extremely poor existence. Therefore, they did not inform Lin Ling of the several class gatherings. Instead, during the gatherings, Lin Ling became the laughing stock. Perhaps Lin Ling was at the bottom of the list, and those students who were just average could find a sense of superiority in him. "You're still doing this? Hee, how much money can you find in a day?" The fatty Luo Laizhu said with a faint smile. He had the demeanor of an expert. The other two also had similar appearances. "Barely making ends meet. You can say that I have more freedom." Lin Ling looked at the three of them indifferently and replied with a smile. After he finished speaking, he took out a cigarette and handed it over. However, who would have thought that fatty Luo would refuse with a smile? He even took out his high-end cigarettes and handed them to Lin Ling as if he was bestowing a gift. He smiled and said, "Cigarettes that are too cheap are harmful to the body, so you should smoke mine." Seeing this, the anger in Huang Wei's heart boiled even more. Wasn't this fatty a manager? As a manager, he should be the best at flattering others. Why didn't he even know common courtesy? He didn't even accept the cigarette? Right, perhaps Lin Ling was not one of the people he wanted to flatter, because Lin Ling was not even qualified to be fatty Luo's customer. However, they were classmates, after all. Did he have to be so arrogant? However, Lin Ling was used to Huang Wei's excitement and took the cigarette with a smile. "Huang Wei, come, have one too." Seeing Lin Ling's calm reaction and not showing any humility, the fat man looked at Huang Wei. Huang Wei snorted and took the cigarette. He said in a strange tone, "I heard that Luo Ling is doing well. Now he's a brand mobile phone manager. I wonder if you can give me a discount when I buy a phone from you?" "Hee, I'll give it to you." Student Luo raised his chin and spat out the words unhurriedly. He was rich and imposing, as if he was rewarding Lin Ling and Lin Feng. These words were obviously polite, but how could they not be arrogant and disdainful? Hee, forthright. As expected of student Luo from class 3 to 5. Huang Wei clenched his fists in anger, but still smiled. "Oh right, Lu Miaodong's birthday is next month. Lin Ling, Huang Wei, you'll be attending, right? I received her invitation, and I plan to attend this time." "Good, see you then. We haven't seen each other in a few years, so this time we can catch up. We'll be leaving first." After a few conversations, the students seemed to enjoy a sense of superiority, so they left with smiles. On the way, the three of them enthusiastically talked about cars, as if deciding on a high-end joint venture car to buy. Hee, next month, Lin Ling and Huang Wei won't be riding bicycles, right? Faintly, Lin Ling and Huang Wei both heard fatty Luo's laughter. "You've gone too far." Huang Wei was furious. "Let's wrap up early today, I'm full from anger." Lin Ling was busy with the work at hand. He smiled faintly, "Why bother with them? You should know that in this world, no matter what you do, there will be people laughing at you, but there will also be people supporting you. Therefore, don't mind the voices of passers-by, just be firm." "Wow, I didn't expect you to be able to talk about life philosophy. Lin Ling, why do I feel like you've changed after coming back? Could it be that you've seen through the world of mortals and are preparing to become a monk?" Huang Wei moved his chubby face closer to Lin Ling, sizing up Lin Ling with great curiosity. Lin Ling was too indifferent, giving him the feeling that he was as elegant as an immortal. Scram! Lin Ling laughed and scolded, his heart heavy. In fact, he didn't know why he could say those words, but he felt that he really didn't care about the high and mighty attitude of the students before. It was as if he was watching a clown dance. Could it be that their views were different because of their different perspectives? Could it be that he was really an all-powerful sovereign, so he couldn't get angry at the mockery of these mortals? Since business is so today, let's just treat it as a holiday and have a meal. Lin Ling and Huang Wei shook their heads and started to wrap up their files. Lin Ling didn't realize that his previous calm thinking had made the mysterious ball of light in his mind even more exuberant. That ball of light seemed to be constantly reminding Lin Ling that he, Lin Ling, didn't belong here. Another world was his, and this was just the world of ants. He mustn't indulge in it. Fatty Luo's 3 classmates were chatting cheerfully and wittily, talking about how Lin Ling was down and out. Suddenly, Fatty Luo's phone rang. "Are you there, Luo Laizhu? Is that Director Lu?" Yes, I'm here." When Fatty Luo saw the number, he hurriedly picked it up and flashed a flattering smile. This was because this person was his superior. "You often go to the market, so you must be familiar with this area. I need you to help me find someone. I'll send you a photo later. Find him as soon as possible. Whoever finds him will be heavily rewarded." A dignified voice came from the other side of the phone. "Yes, Director Lu. But who is this person? Why did Director Lu call you personally? This person is amazing. It's not just me, but the entire Shaoguan city is looking for him right now. It's the Snow Knight Group's order, so his background is just like your father's. He's also your boss. Master, you're his dog. Do you hear me?" Fatty Luo sucked in a breath of cold air when he heard this. The voice came from the phone again. "You'd better find him and treat him like your father. If you find him, you can take my position. If you can't find him, then pack up and get out of here." "Yes, Director Lu." Fatty Luo didn't even dare to breathe loudly. After he hung up, a photo was sent to his phone. Unfortunately, it was a photo of a sketch. This person looks like Lin Ling. Beside him, Luo Hua stared at the image on the phone and shouted in surprise. "It looks like him, but it's impossible. This person must have a big background if the Snow Knight Group is personally involved. Lin Ling is doing so poorly. How could it be him? Besides, this is just a sketch. It's just a drawing." Fatty Luo immediately shook his head. Chapter 2141. Birthday party. At this moment, everyone in the city, be it black or white, as long as they had some background, they were all looking for that mysterious person. Unfortunately, that person was like a stone thrown into the sea. They still had no clue. Lin Ling once again returned to his peaceful days and quietly waited for the light in his mind. "Lin Ling, you're early. You're so hard-working. Going to work again? You came back late last night. Take a rest today." "Morning. Lin Ling, good morning." "Morning." The place where Lin Ling lived was an ordinary residential building. The people nearby all knew Lin Ling and knew that this young man treated people with sincerity and was very good. Lin Ling was also extremely courteous to the neighbors around him. However, these peaceful days only lasted for half a month before another sensational news spread throughout the city. This was because the daughter of Qian Mao Company, Lu Miaodong, was going to have a birthday party. Everyone in the city was going to attend. What was even more surprising was that Qian Mao Company had even invited the boss of the Snow Knight Group and the mysterious little princess. However, this wasn't something that just anyone could do. The news was broadcasted on TV and the whole city was shocked. Many people wanted to be qualified to attend the party. Unfortunately, the door was too high and many people were stopped. As time passed, it was Lu Miaodong's birthday party. "Lin Ling, how many points do you give me for this outfit? Today is a class reunion and there will be many famous people. Who knows, I might be able to hook up with a rich and beautiful girl." Morning. Huang Wei put on his suit early in the morning. He looked at himself in the mirror and felt that he was more handsome. As for Lin Ling, he was still wearing a white shirt and his washed-out jeans. Hearing Huang Wei's words, Lin Ling shook his head and said, with your looks, you can't compare to others no matter what you wear. So why bother? Let nature take its course. Okay, I'll kneel to you again. Seeing Lin Ling's outfit, Huang Wei could not help but admire Lin Ling's indifference. The two of them quickly headed towards the birthday party. At this moment, in the tallest skyscraper in the city, which was also the center of the famous Snow Night group in the Pearl River Delta region, an old man was holding a glass of wine. Through the window, he seemed to be looking at the city. Director Liu, your heart has just recovered. You must abstain from alcohol. Next to him, a middle-aged man in a suit said respectfully. My heart is fine now. The old man turned around with a smile. Although the power of technology is very strong, the mysterious power from the East is even more powerful. By the way, do you think that kid is from the Yin sect? Secret order? Hearing those two words, the middle-aged man's expression changed slightly. Wuxia had a long history, and there were many unsolved mysteries, such as the Qin Emperor's pursuit of immortality, Lao Zi's Tao Te Ching, and so on. A long, long time ago, there were people who pursued the path of immortality. These people were usually hidden in the deep mountains, but they had extraordinary abilities. They even called themselves immortals. But if he's from the Yin sect, he shouldn't be helping Director Liu. Last time, Mr. Long came to propose marriage many times, but he was rejected by Director Liu. Mr. Long seems to be from the Yin sect, so the Yin sect and Director Liu should not be on good terms. The middle-aged man said. He, Mr. Long only has a good family background. Although he has his eyes on Shui, he has his eyes on the Snow Night group. The Yin sect calls themselves immortals, and they don't eat the food of mortals. That's just a sign they put up. When the Yin sect was mentioned, the old man's expression turned cold. When he had met Mr. Long in the past, the other party was high and mighty. At that time, he knew that the Yin sect was very arrogant. Now that he had rejected Mr. Long, he did not know what kind of perverted things the Yin sect would do. After all, that kind of immortal sect would not allow mortals to invade. Grandfather, are you done? Miaodong's birthday is about to begin. At that moment, the door was pushed open and a young girl in a pink evening dress walked in with a smile. Her curves were graceful and she wore a pair of exquisite high heels. Although her dress was not fussy, she gave off an extremely noble feeling. Moreover, amidst her nobility, there was a pure aura that a young girl should have. My Shui is still the prettiest. The old man's eyes lit up and he could not help but praise her. How annoying, grandfather is laughing at Shui again. The young girl's pretty face blushed slightly. Then, she held the old man's hand and left happily. The old man shook his head. In reality, with Qian Mao Company's status, they had no right to invite them. However, after the incident on the train, he realized that his pampered granddaughter seemed to be looking for that young man all the time. So, in order to let his granddaughter relax, he brought her to the birthday party. After they left, on the other side of an extremely high-end building, a young man with neat long hair tied behind his head played with a glass of red wine in his hand. After shaking it, he gently drank it. That old bastard Lu Fei is still alive? A sinister smile appeared on the young man's face. He was Sir Long. Next to him was an old woman. On the surface, she looked very kind but her words were very vicious. Young master, we thought that the old bastard didn't have much time left so we didn't attack him. Who would have thought that the old bastard would come back to life? It looks like the secret order will have to take action. Of course, I'm very interested in Shui. Furthermore, the secret order needs a springboard in the secular world to deal with complicated matters. The Snowy Night group is very suitable. The young man's lips curled into a cold smile. Dragon scales had appeared on his face. The secret order had clearly taken a liking to the rich and imposing snowy knight group. At that moment, Lin Ling and Huang Wei continued to move forward. However, at that moment, Lin Ling frowned. The mysterious energy in his mind had reacted strangely and made him look in a certain direction. This was because he had sensed a powerful presence in that direction. Of course, that kind of power seemed very weak to him. It was only slightly stronger than an ordinary person. Shaking his head, Lin Ling knew that only when the energy in his mind completely exploded would he be able to find out everything. Lu Miaodong's birthday party was undoubtedly very luxurious. When Lin Ling and the others arrived, they were shocked by the sea of people. Furthermore, when they looked over, they saw that the birthday party was held on a large lawn. The people there were dressed very well and looked very rich. Seeing this, Huang Wei immediately felt guilty. His suit had been bought from a street stall for $100. It was the worst of the worst and did not have the right to mingle with the upper class. Lin Ling, on the other hand, was calm and collected as he slowly walked forward. This guy. Huang Wei was speechless. He suspected that Lin Ling's heart was like an iceberg. Why was he not moved at all? Screech. At that moment, a luxurious BMW 5 Series swung the rear of the car and made a drift in front of Lin Ling and Huang Wei. Hey, isn't this Student Lin and Student Huang? Long time no see. Then, a surprised voice came from the car. A young man who looked like a rich second generation smiled as he looked over. Li Guifa? Li Guifa? Chapter 2142. Miss Xue, hee, did you walk here? I told you earlier that I would pick you up. However, I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going to park the car. Okay. The owner of the BMW left a sentence and drove away confidently, making Huang Wei narrow his eyes. Another pretentious guy. Damn. He didn't think that the other party would come to pick them up. To put it bluntly, he was just showing off in front of them. What a weak mount. I can cut it in half with a sword. Compared to my little saint, it's just a pile of scrap iron. Lin Ling shook his head and expressed his opinion subconsciously. However, after saying that, he smiled bitterly. How could he say such pretentious words? It seemed that the light in his mind was getting stronger and stronger. It was only a matter of time before the light broke. What's your little saint? How could he be so awesome? Huang Wei opened his mouth wide. Lin Ling continued to smile bitterly. An ancient snake whose end can't be seen with a single glance. Okay. You can act pretentious in front of me, but don't act pretentious in front of your classmates. Huang Wei sighed softly. The two of them entered the birthday party. The birthday party was packed with people. After Lin Ling and Huang Wei entered, some people stared at Lin Ling and snickered secretly. This was because the people who came here were all wearing branded suits. Each suit cost tens of thousands, and the more expensive ones cost hundreds of thousands. Lin Ling was wearing a white shirt and a pair of jeans that had been washed until they were white. Such an outfit would be very common anywhere, let alone here. Who called them here? What a disgrace. Disdainful. Someone whispered in disdain. Gradually, many strange gazes were directed at Huang Wei, causing him to wish that he could find a hole to crawl into. However, Lin Ling was still indifferent. Lin Ling, Huang Wei, over here. Yes. Soon, a voice came from another direction. He looked over and found that the table over there was filled with his former classmates. No way, you're actually wearing jeans? I admire you. If you can't afford a suit, you should have said so earlier. I could have bought you one. Yes. Before Lin Ling and the other person even got close, Student Luo let out an exasperated voice. Hee, Lin Ling seems to be selling barbecue now. Why are you doing so poorly? Sigh, in the past, he was just a nobody. I didn't expect him to be the same after graduation. Look at Li Guifa, he even drives a BMW. It's not easy for everyone, so let's talk less. The other students smiled politely, but their words were not polite. Moreover, no one greeted Lin Ling when he walked over. They all sat there and talked cheerfully. Fatty Luo, on the other hand, was extremely popular because he was the regional manager and knew many people. The other students naturally fawned over him. In the face of such a situation, Lin Ling still looked indifferent. He sat down at another table. That table was filled with ordinary students. In the past, when they were studying, they were also very ordinary and low-key existences. Xiao Yan, didn't you have a crush on Lin Ling before? When you see him again today, do you still feel that heartbeat? It's useless to talk about the past now. Although Lin Ling was indeed very handsome when he was studying, it's a pity that he looks so down and out now. In the group of female students, a woman in luxurious clothes shook her head and said. They looked at Lin Ling with a gaze of sympathy. I knew that coming to a class reunion was bound to be mocked. Huang Wei was too lazy to listen to the voices around him. He gorged himself on the food on the table. Then why are you here again? Lin Ling also picked up a glass of wine and drank. I'm here for the food. It's such a big lobster and shark fin. It's a waste not to eat. Huang Wei's mouth was stuffed. Being looked down upon and mocked is free anyway. It's not like I'll lose any meat. They can laugh if they want. Lin Ling was speechless. However, he knew that Huang Wei's words were simple on the surface. In reality, the flames of indignation were burning in his heart. Everyone had dignity. While the two of them were eating and drinking, more and more important people arrived. When the people from the Snowy Night group arrived, the birthday party quieted down. So beautiful. Is that Miss Cher from the Snowy Night group? Tisk tsk, she's both rich and beautiful. Whoever marries her will be the #1 person in the city. Stop dreaming. You can't even marry Lu Miaodong. That kind of beauty, you're only qualified to look at her from afar. Oh my god, that's a limited edition Hermes bag. There are only 50 models in the world. I can't believe the Snowy Night group bought it. And it's so compatible with Miss Cher. She's even prettier in real life than in the photos. Both male and female students were looking at the beautiful girl from afar with admiration. Without a doubt, although today was Lu Miaodong's birthday, the real goddess was Cher. Look, Xiao Yan went over. He wants to get to know Cher. He's just overestimating himself. A student stared at a young man. At this moment, the young man walked over confidently with a glass of red wine. He really did want to get to know Cher. Unfortunately, he was stopped. In fact, if it wasn't for the birthday party, he would have been chased away. His actions were like a toad wanting to eat swan meat. Ha! The students laughed, but they didn't find it strange. Cher was flawless. How could a normal person get close to her? Sister Cher. The host, Lu Miaodong, also came to welcome them personally. She was wearing a white princess dress today, and the precious ocean's heart hung around her neck. Although she was also very dazzling, she was still very dim compared to Shui, her sister Miaodong. Shui said with a smile. Lu Miaodong personally held her hand and walked forward. There was a huge cake there, and she invited Cher to cut it together. Suddenly, the birthday song was played and everyone applauded. Moreover, the son of a nouveau riche wanted to shock everyone and was the first to present a birthday gift. He even invited Lu Miaodong for a dance. Of course, the dance was just the beginning. His real goal was to woo Lu Miaodong. And that birthday gift was a Mercedes-Benz of the latest model. Therefore, the crowd was in an uproar. Alright, I'll dance with you later. Lu Miaodong smiled. She acted very ladylike, but the vanity in her heart was greatly satisfied. Cher didn't like to fight for the attention because the host today was Lu Miaodong. She left with a smile and slowly walked towards her grandfather. One by one, the famous people presented birthday gifts. The lowest value of those gifts was 100,000 yuan. The crowd was in an uproar, especially some of the young masters. They also elegantly invited Lu Miaodong for a dance. In response, Lu Miaodong smiled slightly. She didn't reject or accept. Gradually, it was her classmates' turn. Suddenly, those classmates walked over nervously. No matter what, when Lu Miaodong was studying, she had always been the proud daughter of heaven that they looked up to, and now they still had to look up to her. Chapter 2143. It's you? Hee, thank you classmate Luo. Thank you everyone. Although the gifts from her classmates couldn't be compared to others, it was still a decent gift. This made Lu Miaodong feel happy that her classmates didn't embarrass her. Lin Ling and Huang Wei were also among them. Huang Wei shamelessly gave a pirated Hermes bag. He hoped that no one would be able to tell that it was a fake. Of course, everyone knew Huang Wei's family background, so they couldn't help but secretly laugh. When it was Lin Ling's turn, Lin Ling gave an extremely delicate little box. This little box was personally wrapped by him last night. However, the material used wasn't luxurious, so it looked delicate but didn't seem expensive. Miaodong classmate, why don't you take a look at the gift? Among the classmates, someone suddenly shouted. No one knew if it was intentional or unintentional. On the other hand, the male students were all smiles. In their minds, what kind of gift could Lin Ling give? Perhaps it would be a bunch of roasted leeks. If that happened, Lin Ling would be so embarrassed that she would be unable to show her face. These guys. Huang Wei's face suddenly turned ugly. His classmates clearly had the intention to tease Lin Ling. Lin Ling, can you help me open it? Lu Miaodong naturally couldn't refuse her classmate's invitation. Lin Ling was silent for a moment, then calmly nodded. He slowly opened the little box and finally took out a white handkerchief. This handkerchief looked a bit old. Although it was very old, it was washed very clean. It could be seen that the owner cherished this handkerchief very much. However, after this handkerchief was taken out, the entire birthday party fell silent. Those people with status almost burst out laughing. Was that a rag? As for the classmates, they all covered their mouths and laughed. They thought that Lin Ling would give some cheap gift. Who knew that this kid was so thrifty that he actually gave a rag? This kind of rag, even if it was thrown on the ground, no one would pick it up. This. Lu Miaodong was also extremely surprised. This is your handkerchief. When I was 10 years old, you gave it to me. Today, I'm here to return it to you. Lin Ling did not seem to notice the mockery around him. He smiled, and his smile was extremely pure. Lu Miaodong was stunned. She finally had some recollection. She didn't expect Lin Ling to be so persistent. He still remembered what happened when he was 10 years old because this handkerchief was the first time they met. However, a few years have passed, everything is the people are the people are the people are the same. The innocence of the past was gone with the wind today. Thank you. Lu Miaodong smiled and took the handkerchief. Lin Ling also nodded. He did not know why, but after returning the handkerchief, he felt incomparably relaxed. It was as if the wish that had been suppressed in his heart had finally been fulfilled. It was as if Miaodong in his heart in this world, the is the his Miaelis is. Now that this matter had been settled, the mysterious power in his mind began to surge like waves, even emitting explosive sounds. This caused Lin Ling's face to turn somewhat pale. After giving a courteous smile, he wanted to return to his seat. As he left, Lu Miaodong didn't say anything. Instead, she courteously welcomed the others. Lin Ling could see that Lu Miaodong had quietly tossed the handkerchief to the ground, and even stepped on it a few times. Seeing this, Lin Ling sighed. The young Lu Miaodong had already walked further and further away. Everyone has their own first love. As time passes, that first love is just a memory, it doesn't mean anything. But now, that first love was no longer important to Lin Ling. Bang! However, as Lin Ling was retreating, because of the pain in his head, he accidentally bumped into someone. Immediately, a sharp and clear scream sounded out, and because of Lin Ling's careless bump, wine spilled all over that person's body. This unforeseen event instantly caused the lively birthday party to fall into a deathly silence. Because everyone saw that Lin Ling actually bumped into Miss Xue. That guy is really an idiot. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, and they started to sympathize with Lin Ling. It's over. Miss Xue's dress alone is probably worth more than $1 million. Lin Ling can't afford it. This Lin Ling, he's been humiliated again and again today. As for Lin Ling's classmates, they were all smiling and shaking their heads, as if they were watching a good show. As for Lu Miaodong, she was complaining about Lin Ling. What a disgrace. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have invited that country bumpkin. Little sister Xue, I'm very sorry. He's my classmate. Without thinking too much, Lu Miaodong quickly walked towards Xue, hoping that she wouldn't be so angry. However, to everyone's surprise, Xue didn't say much. Instead, she looked at the young man in front of her in surprise. That was because she knew this young man, and also because this young man was her grandfather's savior. Although they had only met once, it was fated. That one glance was as if they had met for thousands of lifetimes. It was still the same clean white shirt, the same clear eyes, and the same ethereal handsome face. It's you. Xue suddenly became excited. As soon as she said that, the whole party fell silent. The young lady of the city's #1 group, she seemed to know Lin Ling. I must be dreaming. Those classmates' jaws dropped at this moment. Even classmate Xiao was tongue-tied. Previously, he wanted to get close to Miss Xue, but who knew that she would coldly reject him? And Lin Ling, this trash existence, Miss Xue actually knew him? This must be a dream. It's you. At this moment, Lin Ling was slightly awake, but the voices in his mind were increasing. It's really you. I've been looking for you for a long time. Grandpa is also looking for you. Hearing Lin Ling's voice, Xue became even more excited. Her voice was no doubt, it was no wonder that her voice was like a bolt from the blue, bombarding the whole place. Miss Xue is looking for Lin Ling? Even the boss of the Snow Knight group is looking for him? What the hell is going on? However, what shocked everyone was that after facing the young lady, Lin Ling actually turned around and left after politely greeting her. In fact, at this moment, he was digesting the memories in his mind, so he wanted to find a quiet place. Wait, can I invite you for a dance? Seeing that Lin Ling wanted to disappear again, Xue naturally refused. She bit her lips and subconsciously spoke. Bang, bang, bang. Many of the wine glasses in their hands fell to the ground out of shock. Dance? Lin Ling can actually dance with Miss Xue. Moreover, Miss Xue personally invited him. Those people with status were all incomparably shocked at this moment. This was because when Miss Xue arrived, everyone looked at her with admiration. No one dared to invite her to dance, because she was not worthy. However, that plainly dressed young man was personally invited. The students all sucked in a breath of cold air. Among them, student Luo's expression changed drastically. Could it be that he's the mysterious young man that the Snow Knight group has been looking for? As soon as these words fell, all the students felt as if they had been struck by lightning. Everyone in the city knew that the Snow Knight group was looking for a mysterious young man. The Snow Knight group had even released news that this person could be treated as the boss of the Snow Knight group. Even that mysterious boss Lu had hinted that he already regarded this mysterious young man as his son-in-law. This also meant that Lin Ling was very likely to be the heir of the Snow Knight group, and even Miss Xue's future husband. Chapter 2144. There was really no need to compete. Plop. Li Guifa, who was driving a BMW, was so scared that he fell to the ground. His BMW was a piece of scrap metal to the Snow Knight group. What scared him the most was that he had been so proud of himself in front of Lin Ling's student Luo wasn't any better. He remembered what his boss had said. When you see that young man, you have to treat him like a father, a boss, and a master. His boss, master, and even his father had actually been by his side before, but he had missed it. This guy is really amazing. Just based on the fact that he knows the Snow Knight group, who else in our class can do better than him? One by one, the students smiled bitterly, especially the female students. At this moment, they were staring at Lin Ling with strange gazes. At this moment, Lin Ling's clean white shirt didn't seem to represent that he was down and out. Instead, it represented that he was different from others. It represented that he was as pure as the white clouds in the sky, while they were like frogs at the bottom of a well. Huang Wei, does Miss Xue really know Lin Ling? Come, smoke my cigarette. After recovering from his shock, Student Luo hurriedly looked at Huang Weidao and offered him a cigarette with both hands. He looked extremely respectful. In fact, Huang Wei was also surprised, because he never thought that the beautiful girl Lin Ling helped at the train station was actually the city's #1 young lady. Of course, even I know him. Then, Huang Wei was elated. It was a feeling of exaltation. He swept his gaze across the students. All of them had a smile on their faces. The disdainful look from before had disappeared without a trace. Because all of them knew that the Snow Knight group could easily kill them. Their glamorous jobs and endless future would disappear in an instant. Therefore, at this moment, Lin Ling was equivalent to the sky that they had to look up to. Student Luo, didn't you want to give me a phone? How about giving me a phone today? Huang Wei narrowed his eyes and looked at Luo Tongxue. Luo Tongxue smiled bitterly. Brother Huang Wei, I wouldn't dare. You know the Snow Knight group. You can easily get a mobile phone factory, let alone a mobile phone. As soon as his words fell, the other students didn't want to be outdone and started to flatter him. Li Guifa even patted his chest and said, Big brother Huang Wei, although my BMW doesn't enter your eyes, you can drive it away at any time. Hee, I'm not worthy. You guys should just treat me and Lin Ling as good-for-nothing classmates. Huang Wei laughed coldly. His words were direct, making the students feel extremely awkward. Then, Huang Wei looked at Lu Miaodong, who was in a daze. He smiled faintly and said, Lu Miaodong, didn't you cooperate with the Snow Knight group? Wasn't there an order of 80 million? I wonder what kind of order it is. Me. Lu Miaodong's delicate body trembled. The pride she had always had was blown away by the wind at this moment. She couldn't be proud anymore. 80 million was nothing to the Snow Knight group. If Lin Ling had a good relationship with Miss Xue, canceling the order would be a piece of cake. She never thought that the thing she was most proud of would be nothing to Lin Ling. Then, her gaze looked into the distance and landed on the dirty handkerchief on the ground. The regret in her heart suddenly became stronger. The cooperation between the Snow Knight group and the Qian Mao group is still in negotiation. Almost at the same time, a cold voice sounded from the other side. Although it was said to be negotiation, it was actually a rejection. Because Lin Ling had cured the president of the Snow Knight group, a mere Qian Mao group couldn't compare to Lin Ling at all. Because President Lu's life was worth 100 Qian Mao group. Negotiation? Lu Miaodong's beautiful eyes suddenly became blank. Today was her birthday, and also the day when Qian Mao group would achieve great things. However, because she had underestimated Lin Ling, the cooperation was interrupted. Lin Ling, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have looked down on you. We're classmates. Lu Miaodong hurriedly said to Lin Ling. At this moment, Lin Ling's expression was extremely calm. His eyes were like an ancient well as he looked indifferently. He even looked at everything in front of him as if he was a passerby. Huh, classmates? We did come with the idea of being classmates, but you didn't treat us as classmates. You mocked us when we were studying, and you still do it now. Huang Wei was not as calm as Lin Ling and directly mocked. Such words undoubtedly made all of the students feel ashamed and unable to show their faces. Classmates, those are the memories of youth. After graduation, we go our separate ways. When we meet again, just cherish those memories. There's really no need to compare. Lin Ling finally opened his mouth. His words were calm, but they were like a silent slap to the faces of all the students. Compare. They only had power to compare. However, Lin Ling had just told them that when it came to comparing, they were no match for him. In fact, Lin Ling really did not care about what his classmates thought. He planned to leave after saying that sentence. Can you dance with me? Miss Xue whispered again. Lin Ling frowned and pondered for a moment. Finally, he nodded. Sure, but I don't know how to dance. It's fine. I don't know how to dance either. Miss Xue immediately revealed a happy smile. At the same time, music started to play. Under countless gazes, the young man and woman started to dance. Although Lin Ling really did not know how to dance, for some reason, after just one dance, he learned it easily. This caused all eyes to fall on the handsome man and woman. They were secretly shocked. It was really beautiful. It could be said that it was a peerless dance. Without a doubt, the real hosts of today's birthday party were Miss Xue and Lin Ling. They would definitely cause a sensation in the city tomorrow. The faces of the students were filled with admiration. To them, Lin Ling was as elegant as an immortal. Moreover, they realized that Lin Ling was extremely calm throughout the entire process. There was no trace of a petty person getting his way. It was as if Lin Ling really did not care about these things. This realm of calmness showed the gap between them and Lin Ling. At the same time, some of the students looked at Lu Miaodong and could not help but laugh. They could not understand where Lu Miaodong got her confidence from. She actually rejected Lin Ling so arrogantly. Now, Lin Ling was personally invited by Miss Xue. Compared to Lu Miaodong, Miss Xue was a real princess and Lu Miaodong was just a servant. That kid is really not simple. On the other side, the old man smiled as he watched the two dance. Seeing Lin Ling's calm performance, he was even more certain that Lin Ling had a secret. This also proved that his judgment was not wrong. That's right. If an ordinary person was invited to dance by Miss Xue, they would have been excited by now. But that young man is as calm as a breeze. If not for his young age, would really think that he has experienced many ups and downs and walked through mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Beside him, a middle-aged man also said solemnly. As people of high status, they had seen countless people, so they could sense that Lin Ling was different from the rest. I can see that my granddaughter likes him very much. The old man said with a smile. Chapter 2145. Lin Ling, am back. On the other side of the birthday party, a young man with long hair tied behind his head said coldly, "Who is that country bumpkin? How dare he touch my woman? Young master. Young master, I've investigated him. His background is very ordinary. To the secret order, he's an ant among ants. At the side, an old woman who was adorned with jewels said coldly. Kill him as an example to the others. Young master. The young man took a sip of red wine and said, an ant should have the awareness of an ant. Not just anyone can touch my woman. After killing that ant, I'll prepare to kill Director Liu. Then, everything will belong to me. Young master. It was as if he had the entire situation under control. Of course, with his backing from the secret order, he could do all this. Unfortunately, the high and mighty him did not know that the ant in his eyes was an existence beyond his imagination. In reality, no matter what his background was, even if he was from the secret order, to the youngest ancient giant, Lin Ling, destroying him was as easy as flipping his hand. When the birthday party ended, Lin Ling hurriedly left with Huang Wei. He really wanted to know what had happened to that mysterious object. Lin Ling, take my car. Your domestic car, get lost. Lin Ling, take my BMW. We've been classmates for a few years. Let me send you back. When they reached the main road outside, the classmates courteously approached them. Hee, thank you. But I'm used to walking, so maybe next time. Lin Ling smiled as he rejected them. His calmness made the classmates feel inferior. Because, up until now, Lin Ling still did not show any signs of being high and mighty. He was still as calm as ever. On the other side of the main road, Xue watched Lin Ling leave with disappointment in her eyes. As long as we know who that person is, we'll have our chance. Next to her, her grandfather smiled and comforted her. Xue's beautiful eyes lit up and she nodded. In reality, she was also quite shocked because Lin Ling's attitude towards her was neither cold nor warm. Director Liu, long time no see. Were you talking about that country bumpkin? Unfortunately, he's about to die. However, at this moment, two figures walked over from afar. The indifferent young man in the lead was young Master Long. These two people undoubtedly caused the old man's expression to change drastically. The young master wants to work with you, but unfortunately, you've rejected him. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, I'll have to force you. Let me tell you, you're nothing but ants if you want to fight against the secret order. The old woman next to Sir Long exuded a mysterious power. Plop. The bodyguards around Xue and the old man immediately collapsed. Even the chauffeur who came to pick them up suddenly fainted, causing the luxury car to crash into the roadside wall. Moreover, the most surprising thing was that these two people could be said to be open and aboveboard, causing the surrounding people to be shocked again and again. Obediently accept your death. Against me, you don't have any power to resist. The old woman coldly snorted and looked down at Xue. At this moment, Xue's expression changed slightly. Naturally, she knew what the secret order was. Most importantly, she had overheard that Lin Ling had been implicated as well. She instinctively turned to look at the back of the road and saw that Lin Ling and Huang Wei were walking along the main road. However, behind them, a large truck was heading straight towards them. Furthermore, she was not the only one who had seen it. Everyone else had seen it as well. At this moment, Lin Ling's head began to hurt even more. The mysterious power felt as if it was about to explode. However, at this critical moment, his intuition told him that danger was about to descend upon him. Subconsciously, he pushed Huang Wei away and threw himself to the other side. Almost as soon as he finished his action, the huge truck brushed past him. The truck's driver did not expect Lin Ling to react so quickly. His car rushed to the other side of the road. However, he was considered an experienced driver. He braked forcefully, turned the car around and charged towards Lin Ling again. He had received orders to kill Lin Ling, so he must succeed. However, the truck was quite far away. It was not difficult for Lin Ling to avoid it. However, a child happened to pass by in the middle of the road. The child was about 5 or 6 years old and was completely unaware of the approaching danger. His mother was chatting with someone else. By the time she reacted, it was already too late. Furthermore, even if she had reacted, she would not have been able to help much with the truck's rampage. At this moment, everyone's pupils constricted. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped. At this moment, Lin Ling's clear eyes quietly changed. The aura of a venerable emperor filled the air. Boom! His mind suddenly exploded, and countless voices finally rang out. Those bits and pieces drifted like fleeting clouds. Those familiar faces also appeared in his mind. Grandfather, Yu, mother, and so on. Furthermore, he knew that in this world, he, Lin Ling, was already dead. That was why he had transmigrated. However, someone had borrowed the powerful energy of the realm to reverse time and allow him to appear before he had died. It turned out that everything was like this. As for why Lin Ling was so sure, it was because of that child. Before Lin Ling had transmigrated, he had been killed by a car in order to save that child. That was why he had transmigrated. Therefore, what was happening in front of him had already happened. That was history repeating itself. Is this the energy of the realm? Lin Ling muttered to himself. He took a step forward and rushed toward the child. Whether history was repeating itself or not, he, Lin Ling, would still choose to save him. That's right. This is the energy of the realm. It can control the power of a realm and can reverse time. It seems that you have some understanding of what the realm is. And this realm is very weak. That's why I can reverse time and send you here. However, in the Wuxian realm, in your world, I can't do this with my realm unless I'm the master of a realm. Moreover, everyone's way of comprehending their realm is different. The only place that suits you, Lin Ling, is the place where you first came from. A voice suddenly sounded in Lin Ling's ears, causing Lin Ling to be startled. Who are you? The person who helped you comprehend your realm, Lin Ling. You have already comprehended your realm. Come back, you will know who I am. All right. Lin Ling did not slow down. He had already arrived in front of the child and picked him up. However, the truck had already rushed over. Lin Ling. At this moment, Huang Wei anxiously shouted. Lin Ling's classmates were also shouting. Unfortunately, their shouts were not of much use. They could even imagine that what they would see next would be a tragedy. Ancient giants, I, Lin Ling, am back. However, Lin Ling did not seem to hear the shouts around him. His expression was incomparably calm. That powerful strength of the past began to spread throughout his body. Various types of power of law sprouted like seeds, and there was even a trace of mysterious power of boundary essence. Through this experience, Lin Ling finally had a deep understanding of power of boundary essence. He stretched out one hand as if he wanted to use his thin arm to stop the truck. This action undoubtedly shocked the surrounding people once again. The next moment. Boom! Chapter 2146. Boundary Element Silence. The entire road was silent as countless gazes stared at the handsome young man with long hair fluttering in the wind. They seemed to have forgotten how to breathe. Lu Miaodong's mouth was wide open. The figure that Lin Ling had left in her heart was now infinitely higher. Was this still the Lin Ling that she looked down on? Damn, is this Superman? Huang Wei was so scared that he knelt down. He never thought that his best friend who had been with him day and night would be so powerful. Could he be a legendary ancient warrior? The other students were not any better. Their gazes towards Lin Ling had already turned into worship. On the entire road, everyone was looking at Lin Ling, including young Master Long and the others. So there are millions of worlds in this world. My world is one world, and this is another world. And their destination is the martial god realm. Only by comprehending the boundary element can one enter the martial god realm. At this moment, Lin Ling was still hugging the child as he spoke. He stretched out his right hand, and on his finger, a wisp of white energy coiled around it. It seemed weak, but it suppressed an extremely terrifying power. This was the power of the universe, and also the boundary element. The boundary element was also a seed. After awakening, its power was even stronger than the laws. After all, the laws represented the rules of the world, but the boundary element represented the power of the universe. After awakening, all the laws could be transformed into boundary element, and one's strength would greatly increase. It could be said that a strand of boundary element was comparable to millions of laws. Everyone's path of martial arts, willpower, martial arts comprehension, and mental state are all different, so the path to comprehending boundary element is also different. The knot in my heart is obviously this world. I can't let go of the things in this world, so I can't comprehend boundary element. Lin Ling suddenly understood the mysterious man's intention. Because this world also had many of Lin Ling's memories, such as his childhood studies, his first love, his experiences in junior high school, and so on. Even the child in his arms was an obsession in his heart. Therefore, the mysterious man sent Lin Ling to this world and used those memories and obsessions to let Lin Ling comprehend boundary element. Of course, if Lin Ling failed, he would stay here forever and become an ordinary mortal. Fortunately, the scene of the truck hitting the child woke Lin Ling up. "Thank you." Lin Ling looked at the child in his arms and smiled. His smile was incomparably carefree. At this moment, he was filled with great confidence. "Big brother, why are you thanking me?" The child opened his clear eyes and asked curiously. "Because my comprehension this time all relied on luck and fortune, and you are the one who brought me luck," Lin Ling said with a smile. At this time, the child's mother ran over and bowed to Lin Ling, thanking him profusely. Lin Ling also put the child down. "Big brother, thank you." The child smiled at Lin Ling, and Lin Ling returned the smile. He looked into the distance and strode over. His pace was not fast, but in everyone's eyes, those steps carried a mysterious rhythm. So handsome. The hearts of Lin Ling's classmates jumped. In the past, he was the most low-key existence in the class, but today, he was the most dazzling existence. This guy is simply amazing. Huang Wei was also shocked. The feeling Lin Ling gave him was very unfamiliar, yet also very familiar. Shui and the old man also looked at Lin Ling. They were sure that Lin Ling was definitely an ancient martial artist. Young Master Long also thought so. He did not expect that there would be such a strong person in the secular world. However, no matter how strong one was, could they compare to the Yin sect? Lin Ling had already stopped in front of Shui and smiled, "Thank you." He knew very well that these people had more or less helped him in comprehending the boundary essence. Now that he was about to leave, he thanked them one by one. "Ah, there's no need for that." Shui's heart immediately jumped when she saw Lin Ling's clear gaze. She did not know why, but she felt inferior when facing this elegant young man. "Ancient martial artist? You're quite strong." At this moment, young Master Long said indifferently. His tone was very calm and carried a hint of disdain. The old woman next to him also narrowed her eyes and stared at Lin Ling. This young man's strength was not bad. He was qualified to be the young master's follower. It was no wonder that they were not afraid of Lin Ling. In Wuxia, the Yin sect was the strongest and had the longest history. Therefore, no matter how strong Lin Ling was, he was like an ant in front of the Yin sect. "You can be the young master's follower. Furthermore, we're from the Yin sect." The old woman finally spoke and revealed her background. She wanted to surprise Lin Ling. In Wuxia, as long as one was a true expert, they would have more or less heard of the Yin sect. Those who heard these two words would all turn pale at the mention of it. Yin sect? What's that? I've never heard of it either. Could it be? The crowd was puzzled. However, the people here were all reputable and some of them had heard of the Yin sect. Could it be an ancient sect that has been passed down since the Qin dynasty? It's said that the members of this sect are all immortals. An old man cried out in surprise because he was also a practitioner of the Tao. Immortals? The crowd burst into an uproar. Every one of them doubted the old man's words. However, when they turned to look at the old man, they were shocked to find that the old man was a renowned Qigong master in the country. As for his words, it was obvious that he couldn't be lying. This meant that the mysterious old woman's background was very terrifying. However, when they thought about it, the old woman had not moved at all, but young Lady Xue's bodyguards had fallen to the ground. This proved that the old woman was very powerful. I'm going to leave now. It's fate that brought us together. I'll give you a chance. However, Lin Ling did not seem to notice the crowd's shock. Instead, he smiled at Xue and pointed at her with his right hand. Several laws flowed into Xue's body and helped her to be reborn. And your grandfather. Then, Lin Ling pointed at Director Lu, causing Director Lu's body to tremble. A mysterious power was awakening in his aged body. This is... The old man was pleasantly surprised. Their actions could be said to have ignored the old woman and young Master Long. This caused them to be stunned on the spot. Then, their faces turned ashen. This young man was too arrogant. Do you know what the Yin sect is? Don't think that just because you know some ancient martial arts, you can look down on everyone. The old woman said word by word, I gave you a chance to become the young master's follower and you dared to pass it up? You should know that if you become the young master's follower, you'll be considered half a member of the Yin sect. If you're lucky, you'll be able to obtain the art of immortal cultivation. As soon as she finished speaking, the crowd was in an uproar. The art of immortal cultivation? Could it be that it was one of those legendary immortal cultivation methods? This was something that generations of emperors dreamed of. At this moment, after Lin Ling had reborn Xue and Director Lu, he looked at young Master Long and the others. Chapter 2147. The experts of the hidden sects who asked you to be so close to Xue. Xue is mine, so I killed the chicken to warn the monkey. However, you still have some strength, so I'll spare your dog life. In the future, be obedient and be my follower. Young Master Long laughed. You killed me just because I was close to Xue. Lin Ling's expression remained calm. I really don't understand. You're so weak. I don't know where you get the confidence to say this. Forget it. We know each other after all, so I'll give you a chance to kill yourselves. Of course, you can also join forces. Shaking his head, Lin Ling was too lazy to speak any more nonsense. However, these words made young Master Long and young Master Long stunned. They almost couldn't hold back their laughter. Let them commit suicide? Let them join forces? This guy thinks too highly of me. It seems that if I don't show you some power, you won't know what the secret order is. The old woman's body emitted a terrifying aura, and all the stones on the ground floated up. This kind of magical power undoubtedly shocked everyone. Huang Wei anxiously shouted at Lin Ling because he didn't think that Lin Ling was a match for the ancient immortal sects. Too weak. However, Lin Ling's expression was still as calm as ever. His right hand lightly tapped the air. Puff! Under countless gazes, the old woman's right arm was severed. It fell to the ground and blood gushed out. The old woman's eyes widened in disbelief. How was this possible? She had used her immortal energy. Moreover, that young man didn't seem to have any immortal energy at all, so how could he easily cut off her arm? You think you're qualified to call me a follower? Lin Ling shook his head and lightly waved his right hand. The entire process was as light as a breeze, but it carried with it an all-powerful aura. Puff! The old woman's other arm flew out and fell to the ground. At this moment, everyone's jaws dropped. Lin Ling had crippled that powerful cultivator from the secret order in just 2 moves. That powerful cultivator actually had the nerve to make Lin Ling his follower? Actually, I'm not interested in your lives at all. However, I have a principle, and that is, I will kill anyone who wants to kill me. Lin Ling coldly spat out a sentence. The murderous intent on his body thickened. The crowd could even see that Lin Ling seemed to have walked out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Is this still the low-key Lin Ling in our eyes? Lin Ling's classmates were all shocked and they sensed his murderous aura. They had a feeling that Lin Ling had experienced tens of thousands of battles, rising step by step amidst blood and slaughter. Almost at the same time, Lin Ling raised his right hand again. How dare you! That young Master Dragon guessed Lin Ling's intention, and he shouted angrily. Whoosh! Unfortunately, the old woman's head flew off as soon as he shouted. Lin Ling was also telling young Master Dragon that there was nothing he did not dare to do. In reality, Lin Ling felt that this young Master Dragon was a little too foolish. The old woman's power was so different from his own, yet young Master Dragon could not tell. That aside, he actually had the audacity to shout at Lin Ling. Do you think that based on your power, you have the right to question me? Lin Ling stared indifferently at young Master Dragon after he had easily killed the old woman. You've got guts. Young Master Dragon had calmed down after his initial rage because the young man in front of him was really powerful. This caused him to fall silent for a moment. When they saw that the arrogant young Master Dragon no longer dared to speak, Director Liu and Shui were extremely excited because they knew how powerful the secret order was. Today's matter ends here. However, the secret order will not let this matter rest. Kid, you're on your own now. Young Master Dragon sighed and turned to leave. He knew that based on his power, he was clearly no match for Lin Ling. Hold it. However, just as he started to move, Lin Ling spoke in an eerie voice. What else do you want? You've killed my people for no reason and I haven't even settled the score with you yet. Are you still not going to let this matter rest? Young Master Dragon suppressed the rage in his heart as he spoke slowly. For no reason. Hearing this, Lin Ling laughed. Young Master Dragon had killed him for no reason and he was merely returning the favor. However, when young Master Dragon had spoken of it, he was now the one who had caused trouble? Most importantly, young Master Dragon was so weak. Where did he get the courage to speak? I'm not going to let this matter rest. So what? Lin Ling laughed icily. Don't regret this. There are some people and places that you can't afford to offend. Young Master Dragon narrowed his eyes. That place represents the most ancient existence in the kingdom of Wuxia. Every single person who has come from that place is an extremely famous figure in history. You, on the other hand, only have a little bit of skill. Compared to that place, you're just an ant. Whoosh! Unfortunately, just as he had spoken, Lin Ling used his hand as a blade and gently slashed at him. Splurt! Fresh blood sprayed into the air as young Master Dragon's arm was cut off. Slash! The crowd gasped when they saw this. Even Director Liu was the same. If he had guessed correctly, young Master Dragon's status in the secret order was not low. However, Lin Ling had still dared to attack him. What kind of background does this mysterious young man have? You cut off my right arm? Slash! Young Master Dragon did not seem to be able to react. I didn't cut off your right arm, I cut off both of your arms. Slash. However, Lin Ling gave an even more accurate answer. With one slash, young Master Dragon's left arm was cleanly cut off as well. Ah! Slash! Young Master Dragon cried out in agony as he rolled on the ground. The crowd in the distance was completely shocked. Even Shui and the others were shocked as well. Only now did they realize that this mysterious young man was not a pushover. Instead, there was a rich and domineering aura within his body. He seemed to be even more powerful than they had imagined. You've got guts. Slash. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the sky. More than 10 figures stepped through the clouds and appeared before the crowd's eyes like immortals. This scene undoubtedly caused the crowd to feel as if they had been struck by lightning. Legend has it that there were immortals in the kingdom of Wuxia, but that was only a legend. Now, they had finally witnessed it with their own eyes. The legend was true. However, there were very, very few people who were able to comprehend immortality. Fly, there really are people who can fly. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? I'm afraid that today's events will cause a sensation throughout the country. Are those people from the Qin dynasty? Or are they immortals from the investiture of the gods era? Or are they from the journey to the West era? The crowd cried out in surprise. They still could not believe what was happening before their very eyes. More than 10 figures slowly descended from the sky. They were all dressed in long green robes and had an ancient air about them. They really did look like immortals. Grandmaster! Grandmaster! Young Master Dragon looked at the group of people and cried out excitedly. To him, the Secret Order's members had arrived and that young man was dead for sure. The Secret Order? Lin Ling also looked at the group of people in astonishment. He had grown up in this world in his previous life and had heard many legends. However, he had never thought that there would actually be powerful immortals here. Of course, to Lin Ling, these people were just slightly stronger cultivators. You, where are you from? Where is your sect? Speak. Speak. Chapter 2148. They had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. The Secret Order was the most powerful ancient sect in Wuxia. When had they ever been afraid of anyone? Furthermore, from their point of view, this young man might be a rogue cultivator who had gone into closed-door cultivation to comprehend the Great Tao and was a fellow cultivator who had made some achievements. I have no background and I don't have a master. Ha! Lin Ling replied calmly, looking as calm and composed as ever. How dare you offend the Secret Order and you still don't know etiquette? If you don't tell us your master today, don't blame us for not remembering our old friendship. The middle-aged man's expression grew colder and colder. He clearly did not expect that there would be someone in the secular world who would dare to provoke the Secret Order. Furthermore, they had personally come, but this young man was not afraid at all. This was courting death. Not remembering our old friendship? You're still far from it. You're not even a Marshal Supreme yet. I don't know where you get your confidence from. Lin Ling shook his head. As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful aura exploded from his body. The pressure of his realm essence swept out like thunder. Instantly, the dozen or so people's expressions changed drastically. What a terrifying aura! The eyes of the leader of the elders flickered as he exclaimed, "What kind of power is that? Why is it different from what we've learned? Could it be that you've obtained a cultivation technique left behind by a predecessor in some secret land in Wuxia?" His voice was filled with anticipation and excitement. Legend has it that the first powerful cultivator in Wuxia, Pangu, had broken through the void and arrived at an even more mysterious realm. Therefore, the cultivation technique that Pangu had left behind was what all immortals yearned for the most. I can let bygones be bygones, but you must tell us the cultivation technique that you've used. If we study it together, we might be able to find the way to eternal life. The elder said excitedly. If it really was a cultivation technique left behind by Pangu, his strength would greatly increase. Cultivation technique? Lin Ling was stunned for a moment before he understood what the elder meant. He had taken a fancy to his power. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but even if I tell you my cultivation technique, you might not be able to cultivate it. Lin Ling shook his head and stepped forward. That's not up to you to decide. Little friend, the secret order has invited you as a guest today. The old man also walked out, and as he walked, his body seemed to grow taller. Moreover, the entire road shook continuously, and ancient immortal chi filled the air. Many people even saw countless flying swords floating in the sky, as if immortals were coming from afar. This was a very terrifying aura. As for the old man's invitation to Lin Ling as a guest, that was definitely not true. To put it bluntly, he just wanted to imprison Lin Ling and obtain Lin Ling's cultivation method. Great Grandmaster, kill him. When Sir Long saw that the Secret Order's number 1 senior had made his move, he instantly became extremely excited. From his point of view, Lin Ling's audacity in going against the Grand Master was like trying to smash an egg against a rock. Lin Ling, be careful. He's the Secret Order's first Grand Elder and has a lifespan of over 500 years. General Manager Liu reminded him anxiously. In reality, he knew a thing or two about the Secret Order. 500 years of lifespan. Heavens, that's a long lifespan of 100 years. Many people's eyes trembled fiercely. To them, 500 years was an extremely terrifying number. They never thought that a person could live for so long. So what if he knows? Can he stop me? The old man spoke with the demeanor of a transcendent being. His long robes continued to flutter in the wind as his immortal chi filled the air. Stop me? Is 500 years of cultivation something to be proud of? Lin Ling laughed again. After all, the ancient giants who were going up against him had cultivated for over 10,000 years, or even tens of millions of years. 500 years of cultivation? They did not even have the right to be Lin Ling's opponent. Bang! Lin Ling took one step forward and a large number of powerful cultivators appeared behind him. These powerful cultivators began to kill each other, creating a scene that could shatter the heavens and shatter the earth. You want my cultivation method? Do you think that you can swallow it? Bang! Lin Ling took another step forward. Dragons, cheelants, and various mystical beasts roared, shaking the heavens and earth. Bang, bang, bang. When the old man's aura was compared to Lin Ling's, it instantly crumbled. His face turned pale as well. How could this be? This young man did not look very old, but his battle experience and knowledge seemed to surpass his by a lot. It's only 500 years. At least 50% of the people under my wing have cultivated for longer than you. Bang! Lin Ling took another step forward. A shocking scene appeared. An illusion appeared in the sky. It was a scene of countless people kneeling in worship. Most importantly, these people's powers were extremely terrifying. They were no weaker than the old man and could even destroy the old man with a single finger. These people seemed to regard Lin Ling as their king. Bang! Lin Ling did not stop in his tracks. At this moment, a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood appeared. The crowd saw a young man in long black robes walking out from the land filled with demons and ghosts. He held a large sword in his hand as he walked out step by step. All of this was Lin Ling's experience in the other world. That experience was shocking. Pfft! The old man spat out a mouthful of blood. The members of the secret order behind him spat out blood as well. Only now did they realize how terrifying the young man in front of them was. He was an existence that looked down upon the world. Senior, please spare my life. The old man immediately knelt down and kowtowed continuously. Even without making a move, he knew how terrifying Lin Ling was. Besides, compared to Lin Ling, he was indeed a junior. If he could not sense this, he would not have the right to continue cultivating. What? Sir Long was instantly dumbfounded when he saw the members of the secret order kneel down. This must be fake. The secret order's number 1 cultivator, the number 1 immortal in Wuxia, is kneeling down and begging for mercy. Furthermore, the other party is a young man who looks about the same age as me. How could this be? Besides, if this young man was really that powerful, it was impossible for the secret order to not know about him. Unless, he had come from another place. Sir Long's face turned even paler at the thought of this. In reality, the old man was thinking the same thing. His heart was shaking like thunder. Weren't you the one who wanted my cultivation technique? Lin Ling arrived in front of the old man and stared down at him from above. I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. Everyone in the secret order, kowtow and greet you, senior. Yes. The old man spoke anxiously and kowtowed continuously, silencing the crowd in the distance. Previously, when the secret order had arrived, everyone's horizons had been broadened. They had thought that Lin Ling was dead for sure because he had offended the most mysterious immortal in Wuxia. However, who would have thought that all the immortals would kneel and kowtow in front of Lin Ling? Could it be that Lin Ling was a god? When I passed by this place, I had no intention of killing everyone. However, you were the ones who had provoked me. Lin Ling slowly replied. Senior, I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Yes. The old man quickly looked at Lin Ling and slapped himself 3 times in a frenzy. He then glared at Sir Long resentfully. You had nearly caused the secret order's death. Yes. As soon as he had spoken, Sir Long's mouth fell open. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. As for Shui and Director Liu, they were excited. They seemed to have latched onto a thick thigh. Chapter 2149. Leave. Actually, I'm also a citizen of Wuxia. Lin Ling sighed as he stared calmly at the old man. Finally, he said, get up. I won't pursue this matter any further. Thank you, senior. Hearing this, the members of the secret order grew excited. They also knew that Wuxia was not the most powerful member of the secret order. In reality, there was still a hidden young man who was like a dragon. Thank you for sparing my life, senior. As for him, I'll deal with him myself. After the old man rose to his feet, he stared coldly at Sir Dragon and struck him with his palm. Sir Dragon's eyes grew blank. He never thought that the secret order would take the initiative to kill him for the sake of that young man. Of course, he could understand the secret order's actions. After all, the secret order would be in danger if they did not kill him. Hence, the secret order would certainly sacrifice him. If there was anyone to blame, he could only blame himself for failing to recognize Mount Tai. Bang! With regret in his heart, Sir Dragon's head exploded. Dead, he's dead, just like that? The crowd sighed. They never thought that today's events would turn out this way. Lin Ling's classmates, in particular, still felt as if they were in a dream. Their former classmate has now become a powerful cultivator who has surpassed immortals. Even if they looked up to that height, they had no right to look up to him. No wonder he doesn't care about our mockery at all. It turns out that we're not from the same world. Perhaps he's the scariest existence in our class. The classmates secretly exclaimed. Huang Wei. At that moment, Lin Ling's gaze turned towards the side of the road. Huang Wei's body trembled and he instinctively walked out. When he arrived in front of Lin Ling, he did not dare to look at Lin Ling. You loser, you're finally going to make a comeback today. However, Lin Ling's next sentence made Huang Wei laugh. He was laughing very happily. This was because Lin Ling had spoken to him in the same tone as before. Lin Ling was still Lin Ling. When did you become so powerful? Huang Wei excitedly thumped Lin Ling's chest. His actions undoubtedly caused the members of the secret order to gasp. This little fatty was simply digging his own grave. However, they clearly wanted to hide. I'm sorry for hiding it from you. However, this isn't important because I'm about to go back. Lin Ling naturally didn't care about Huang Wei's actions. Where are you going? Hearing this, Huang Wei was shocked. Go home. My wife, my grandfather, my mother, and my friends are there. So I'm going home. Lin Ling looked up at the sky. Although he was somewhat reluctant to leave this place, he had met too many enemies and too many friends since he started learning martial arts. Sometimes, those people were just passing by. Therefore, it was impossible for him to stop because no matter how beautiful the scenery was, it was not as important as his family. Life was like this as well. Some people, some things, in the end, were just strangers meeting by chance and passing by each other. However, China is also half my home. Then, Lin Ling shrugged. He pointed with his right hand and a large amount of precepts entered Huang Wei's body, helping him to be reborn. Seeing this, the members of the secret order were envious. They had cultivated bitterly for hundreds of years to obtain their current strength. However, Lin Ling seemed to have cultivated a peerless expert in the blink of an eye. From now on, you, Huang Wei, are the #1 person in China. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Lin Ling withdrew his right hand and nodded in satisfaction. When Huang Wei sensed the surging power in his body, he couldn't help but be shocked. Then, he became ecstatic. The loser has turned the tables. I'm going to become an expert at picking up girls. Seeing this, all the students were envious because they could also see that Huang Wei seemed to have obtained a mysterious power. This was a great opportunity that they had almost obtained. Unfortunately, they had missed it. Especially Lu Miaodong. At this moment, she was holding the white handkerchief and her eyes were slightly moist. Once upon a time, she also had the opportunity to become a true elite. However, she had missed it because she only had money in her eyes. Therefore, she had missed out on everything. Now, she regretted it. However, Lin Ling and her were like passers-by. Thank you. Lin Ling was unaware of everyone's complicated emotions. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He looked at Shui and Director Lu. Their strength was not any weaker than Huang Wei's. They just needed some time to get used to it. Lin Ling, are you leaving? Shui bit her lip. Her heart was extremely pained. However, she also knew that Lin Ling had his own family and friends in another world. Lin Ling nodded. Naturally, he was aware of Shui's feelings for him. Unfortunately, he could only smile bitterly at this. Then, he took a step into the sky and looked deeply at the ground. He engraved everything in his heart. To him, this was a very good memory. Goodbye. Then, Lin Ling exhaled lightly. In his right hand, the mysterious boundary essence bloomed. Then, he punched the sky. Rumble. The turbulent energy blasted the sky, causing ripples to bloom in the blue sky. A huge void boundary passage appeared. Only by comprehending the boundary essence could one travel through the void boundary. Lin Ling, will you still come back? Will you still set up shop with me on the streets? Will you still pick up girls with me? Huang Wei looked at his best friend who was about to leave. He couldn't help but shout. In his eyes, tears flowed down. The word brother was for a lifetime. Of course. Lin Ling looked down and nodded lightly. On the day I rule the world, I will come back. After saying that, he stepped into the void boundary passage and disappeared without a trace. I will find you. Looking at the handsome young man who disappeared into the sky, Shui clenched her small fists and secretly swore. Huang Wei's expression turned serious. He was suddenly very curious about the outside world. Lin Ling had left a large number of cultivation techniques in his mind. In time, he would definitely be able to learn from Lin Ling and leave this place. He would be able to roam the world freely. Heavens, breaking the void with a punch. This is the technique of the strongest person in Wuxia, Pangu. Compared to the thoughts in their minds, the people from the secret sect were extremely excited. They all knelt down. Now, they finally knew the difference between Lin Ling and them. That night, the news in the city caused a sensation. In the report, the city's military exercise caused a huge commotion. Moreover, someone invented a pair of wings and tried to fly in the sky. Obviously, this sensational news was suppressed. It was impossible for everyone to know about it. However, the people who were present at that time remembered a name, Lin Ling. This person was a legend in Wuxia. Rumble. The void boundary energy spread throughout his body. Lin Ling seemed to see countless realms. He even saw the martial god realm at the top of the pyramid. Pop. Pop. Chapter 2150. 10,000 demonic eyes, congratulations on your return. At the same time, a smiling voice drifted out. The path of martial arts is vast and boundless. Everyone has their own path, as well as their own heart's knot and obsession. Therefore, the best way to comprehend the boundary essence is through those heart's knot and obsession. Originally, I wanted to protect you for 3 days, but I didn't expect you to return safely on the 3rd day. It seems like the 10,000 devil eyes has brought you some benefits. Moreover, your martial heart is very firm. You know that some temptations won't last long. If you enjoy the feeling of being high and mighty in that world, you will never be able to return. A voice drifted into Lin Ling's ears. When he opened his eyes, he couldn't help but be surprised. This was because there were 2 familiar faces on this mysterious path to becoming a martial god. Lin Ling was very familiar with one of them. It was Venerable Si Kaming. In the past, during the great calamity of the Rainforest Holy Land, Empyrean Void Star had slaughtered him. It had been Venerable Si Kaming who had protected him, giving him enough time to grow. After that, Lin Ling had also protected Venerable Si Kaming. Unfortunately, Venerable Si Kaming had been killed by a powerhouse and his soul scattered. Lin Ling had been unable to save him. Unexpectedly, Venerable Si Kaming was still alive and had appeared here. Lord Lin Ling. Venerable Si Kaming said excitedly. He hurriedly bowed to Lin Ling. I should be the one calling you Lord. Lin Ling was also very excited. Venerable Si Kaming was his benefactor. Venerable Si Kaming was Lin Ling's savior. I was the one who saved him. Ding Hai is a man who values friendship and righteousness. I didn't want him to die, so I reconstructed his soul and accepted him as my disciple. Another young man in a blue and white robe smiled faintly. Lin Ling had met this person once before. He was one of the only 2 people that Lin Ling couldn't see through in the martial pavilion. One had to know that there were not many people that Lin Ling could not see through. Grandma Wen Dao was the only one, and the next was the person in front of him. This person looked extremely ordinary, and his name was Gan Liangping. This was the only thing Lin Ling knew about him. Did you help me? Lin Ling was extremely surprised. Hehe, I know you're curious about why I'm helping you, and you're also curious about my origins. However, you'll know when the time comes. You only need to know that I'm from the martial god world, and I'm also an old friend of Li Xiaoyao's. The blue-robed young man laughed. Li Xiaoyao's way of comprehending the boundary essence is different from yours, Lin Ling. Therefore, I guessed that you would definitely encounter setbacks when comprehending the boundary essence. Therefore, I helped you. However, I never thought that your comprehension ability would surpass my imagination. TSK, a rank 3 martial emperor, and you managed to create the boundary essence. Even in the martial god world, this is unique because the martial god geniuses there are even rank 5 martial emperors who manage to comprehend the boundary essence. That's monstrous. However, your own fortuitous encounter is one of the reasons. More importantly, it was the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes that helped you. Upon hearing this, Lin Ling was shocked. Could the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes be his left eye? You know that above the immortal body is the Xian body. Above the Xian body is the awakened divine body and even the desolate body. Your left eye is an existence that surpasses the Xian body. As for what it is, you'll know in the future. If you want to inherit the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes, you must cultivate essence, qi, and spirit. Fortunately, you didn't miss out on anything. Otherwise, you would have been dead by now. The blue-robed young man explained slowly. Lin Ling was astonished. His left eye seemed to be extraordinary. However, what surprised him was that the blue-robed young man didn't try to take it for himself. Lin Ling looked at the blue-robed young man in shock. What's wrong with your eyes? Don't worry, I won't take it for myself because I'm also one of the 6 great god eyes. Therefore, I won't snatch your demonic eye. The blue-robed young man shrugged helplessly when he saw Lin Ling's wary gaze. I'm sorry. Lin Ling smiled awkwardly. However, he understood that his left eye seemed to be one of the 6 great god eyes. The most powerful part of the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes is that it can see through everything. It can see through any martial arts, laws, and world energy. It doesn't seem to be very offensive, but it's extremely supportive. It can be said that with this eye, your martial path will be smooth sailing and you will no longer have any bottlenecks. Of course, Li Xiaoyao obtained a right eye that isn't any weaker than the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes in the martial god world. However, I don't know where it is now. That right eye is called the Spacetime Divine Steel. It's something that once shook the martial god world. The blue-robed young man said. Spacetime Divine Steel? Why don't I feel it now? Lin Ling immediately became curious. Because Li Xiaoyao's statue was broken and was obtained by someone else. Perhaps the memories of the Spacetime Divine Steel are in that statue. You need to retrieve them one by one. Of course, there's no rush. It's useless for others to obtain what belongs to you. Moreover, you can't use its power even if you obtain it now. Alright. Hearing this, Lin Ling relaxed. He had obtained the most precious left eye from the 3rd statue, but Li Xiaoyao hadn't obtained anything else. Fortunately, those shameless ancient giants couldn't obtain anything else even if they obtained it. Therefore, it was time to collect the interest. Go back. However, you'd better go to the martial god world as soon as possible because the 2 women are starting to become illusory. This martial god path isn't something that anyone can walk. Alright. Sensing that Lin Ling wanted to leave, the blue-robed young man immediately reminded Lin Ling. Lin Ling looked at Xian Yuan Gu, and his expression changed. At this moment, Xian Yuan Gu, and Yuanshi Guer were becoming illusory. Their bodies were like gas and they showed signs of disappearing at any time. The world energy of the martial god path is affecting them because they haven't comprehended it yet. The blue-robed young man explained. So that's how it is. Lin Ling suddenly understood. Right now, he was here but his life wasn't in any danger. That was because he had the world energy, but Xian Yuan Gu, and Yuanshi Guer didn't have it. If you want to save them, you must go through this path to the martial god world and find the martial god camp in Qingzhou. Then, you'll have a chance to cure them if you join them. After all, there's really no power in your world that can cure them. The blue-robed young man said. Lin Ling frowned and quickly remembered this name. However, the most important thing now was to leave this place and retrieve the things left behind by the third statue. Thank you. Thank you. Lin Ling looked at the blue-robed young man and said. No need. You'll understand in the future. Thank you. The blue-robed young man smiled meaningfully and then left with Venerable Si calming. Lin Ling didn't waste any time. He took Xian Yuan Gu and Yuanshi Guer and left the martial god path. At this moment, the outside world was still in chaos. After the third statue exploded, a large number of treasures sputtered in all directions. The ancient giants all rushed toward the huge rocks because there were more treasures inside. As for the smaller rocks, they were fought over by the experts of the 4 clans. Get lost. Those are the treasures I want. Those are divine crystals. Go. On a sand dune in the desert, a giant from the Ghost Clan and a giant from the Demon Clan were fighting. That's the 9 heavens 10 earths devil monarch. Go. The other one is also the Ghost Emperor Du Tian. Both of them are half a step into the ranks of ancient giants. Go. It seems like we're not qualified to touch the treasures they want. Go. Chapter 2151. That's how arrogant I am. The pitiful one is Lin Ling, he's helping others. Humph. Humph, this Lin Ling is young, but he's so arrogant. I'm afraid he'll die without a complete corpse. Humph. Even if he doesn't die, he'll definitely die if he encounters an ancient giant. Humph. The crowd began to discuss animatedly again, and their gazes were fixed on the great battle on the hill. Rumble. The 2 experts from the Ghost and Demon clans clashed violently. In the end, the expert from the Ghost clan was stronger and killed his opponent, obtaining all of the Demon clan's treasures. Huh, who else but me? Who dares to touch the treasures that I want? Humph. An earth-shaking voice came from the Ghost Clan expert's mouth, forming a ghostly wind that roared in the desert. In the distance, the experts were silent. They did not dare to touch those treasures. Leave the treasures behind. Humph. However, at that moment, a cold voice came from afar, causing everyone to look over. They saw a slender figure slowly walking over from the desert. This person looked extremely young and handsome. He carried a huge ancient sword on his back and his blue and white robe fluttered in the wind. Another one who wants to die. Not bad at all. However, if I hand over the treasures, how will you treat me? Humph. The Ghost Clan expert looked into the distance with his cold eyes. He looked very calm and confident. He was a top expert below the Ghost Emperor. In addition to his good harvest this time, he was already half a step into the ranks of ancient giants. His strength was also at the 6th level of the martial emperor realm. Therefore, who was he afraid of? Leave the treasures behind and obediently give up your life. Humph. However, what was surprising was that this person was also very arrogant. Not only did he want the treasures, he wanted to kill the Ghost Clan expert. Hearing this, the Ghost Clan expert was stunned. According to the rules, those who handed over the treasures would be able to keep their lives. However, this person wanted to kill him? He wanted the treasures and wanted to kill him. This was more brutal than he had imagined. Do you think you're an ancient giant? Humph. Thinking of this, the killing intent on the Ghost Clan expert's face became thicker. The cold ghost chi caused the desert to freeze into black ice. The black ice condensed and turned into huge sand zombies. This Ghost Clan expert was obviously very good at zombies. He could even be called Zombie King. I am indeed an ancient giant. However, the sand zombies that crawled out of the desert didn't cause the newcomers any fear. A voice filled with murderous intent finally floated out. Ancient Giant. The moment his voice sounded, the entire desert was shaken. The person who dared to call himself an ancient giant was quite bold. However, when they looked over, their pupils shrunk. The person who came seemed to be Lin Ling. Why didn't he die? At this moment, the hearts of all the experts rumbled. As for the expert from the ghost race, his expression changed drastically. However, he soon burst into laughter. Lin Ling's strength was the strongest under the ancient overlords. However, he was now half a step into the ranks of the ancient overlords. Why would Lin Ling be afraid of him? You didn't die. Looks like your luck is pretty good. However, even if you didn't die, aren't you being too arrogant? You want the treasure, but you also want the person. Do you think you can do it? The ghost expert floated up, and the mysterious ghost energy was so cold, forming a surging law that enveloped Lin Ling. That's right, I am that arrogant. However, on the ground, white flames burned. After rushing out of the ground, they turned into a mysterious reincarnation circle. 6 paths of reincarnation, Azura path. At this moment, the underworld flame also bloomed. Lin Ling is rumored to be the strongest under the ancient overlords. It looks like he is indeed powerful. He seems to be only a rank 3 martial emperor, but his law has reached 200,000. I wonder who will be more powerful if he and the Heaven Ghost Emperor collide. The surrounding demons and ghosts started to discuss spiritedly. As for the Heaven Ghost Emperor, he squinted his eyes. He was also surprised by Lin Ling's strength. However, such strength was still not enough to shake him. Pitiful, Lin Ling, do you know how pitiful you are? A cold voice floated out from his mouth. I know you don't dare to answer, so I will answer for you. You are the reincarnation of Li Xiaoyao, and you should have a bright future. Unfortunately, your 3rd stone sculpture was taken by us. That is why you are pitiful. Secondly, 200,000 law is indeed powerful, but I am a rank 6 martial emperor. The Heaven Ghost Emperor opened his hands, and more sand zombies crawled out from the ground. They were densely packed, and it was a shocking sight. Those were ferocious zombies, and they could probably fight against a rank 1 martial emperor. When there were so many of them, no one below the rank 6 martial emperor realm would be able to stop them. The Heaven Ghost Emperor's law is increasing rapidly. Gosh, it has reached 800,000. As the terrifying aura exploded, everyone was shocked. 800,000 law. Who could compete with it? Although Lin Ling's talent was stronger, and one of his laws of nature was comparable to 2 of others, he could only withstand 400,000 laws of nature at most. Therefore, Lin Ling could not win. Do you know how pitiful you are? The Heaven Ghost Emperor roared again. If he could kill Lin Ling, he would be famous in the 4 tribes. When he thought of the glory of being famous in the future, he was extremely excited. In fact, with the law that he had just unleashed, it would not be difficult to kill Lin Ling. However, in the face of those terrifying laws, Lin Ling was extremely calm. He was sure that after the 3rd stone sculpture, the strength of the leaders of the various tribes had increased. However, their strength had increased because they had snatched Lin Ling's treasures. Now, they had snatched Lin Ling's treasures, and they were so proud of themselves and wanted to kill Lin Ling. They were too naive. I am indeed pitiful, but you are more pitiful than me. A cold voice came out from Lin Ling's mouth. The reincarnation circle in the sky started to spin, like a white flaming sun. Shameless boasting. Watch me break your 6 paths of reincarnation. The Ghost Emperor shouted coldly. Endless ghostly aura filled the air, like clouds that shrouded the sky, and wanted to devour the reincarnation circle. Seeing this, the crowd became even more excited. However, the next scene caused their laughter to instantly disappear. In the sky, the reincarnation circle grew larger and larger, crazily increasing from 200,000. Chi. The ghostly fog near the reincarnation circle was all burned. What? Seeing this, the Heaven Ghost Emperor's expression changed drastically. How did Lin Ling's law martial arts suddenly increase crazily? 400,000 law power. Heavens, he can't be using this battle to comprehend law martial arts, right? An expert exclaimed because he sensed that Lin Ling seemed to be comprehending law martial arts in an instant. And this was very terrifying. One had to know that the comprehension of law martial arts was calculated in hundreds of years, and Lin Ling could instantly comprehend it. What kind of monstrous talent was this? Chapter 2152. Crazy Rise. However, Lin Ling was also surprised by the might of the 10,000 devil eyes. This was because he had seen through the essence of the 6 paths of reincarnation with a single glance. The 10,000 mammoths' devil eyes were heaven-defying. Du Tian Ghost Emperor, you are very pitiful. You stole my things. You should run away as soon as possible because those who are familiar with me, Lin Ling, know that I will definitely take revenge. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Lin Ling's eyes became even colder. Rumble. Following Lin Ling's voice, the samsara circle in the sky grew larger and larger. The Ghost Emperor's face suddenly turned pale. He saw that the sand zombies on the ground were all burning. You are only at the 6th stage of the Martial Emperor realm, but you only have 800,000 laws. I don't understand where you get the confidence to say that I am pitiful. 700,000. Lin Ling shouted coldly again. His laws had actually reached 700,000. Rumble. All the demons and ghosts in the desert began to tremble with fear. Lin Ling seemed to have no limits. Impossible. How could you suddenly increase your power of laws? You must have cultivated the 6 paths of reincarnation long ago. A moment ago, he could still kill Lin Ling, but now, his confidence was getting weaker and weaker. He was even worried about his own life. I'm sorry, but I've only just started. 800,000. Lin Ling's cold voice floated out from the ground. Bang bang bang. In the desert, all the sand zombies exploded. Lin Ling and Du Tian Ghost Emperor had the same number of nomological laws, but Lin Ling's talent was higher. How could Du Tian Ghost Emperor compare to him? 900,000. However, the terrifying thing was not over yet. It actually reached 900,000 nomological laws. Is this still the 3rd level of the Martial Emperor realm? The top powers in the desert had cultivated for thousands of years. However, this was the first time they had seen a rank 3 Martial Emperor who possessed 900,000 rules. 6 paths of reincarnation: Asura path, human path, beast path, hungry ghost path, hell path, million laws. However, something even more terrifying happened. The Asura path descended from the sky and everything on the ground entered reincarnation. This also meant that Lin Ling had successfully cultivated the first 5 paths of the 6 paths of reincarnation and reached the completion realm. Who could stop him? You are even more pitiful. Lin Ling said sarcastically. The reincarnation law had trapped the Du Tian Ghost Emperor. No. A terrifying suction force was born, sucking all of the sand zombies into the sky. The heavenly ghost monarch couldn't control his body anymore and was elongated. His face twisted, but he couldn't resist the godly aura in the sky and was sucked into the 6 paths reincarnation. Lin Ling was telling him who was more pitiful: reincarnation? Reincarnation of reincarnation. Was reincarnation of heaven reincarnation realm reincarnated reincarnation. Among the 4 clans, he was the only one who had the ability to instantly raise the power of laws. Du Tian Ghost Emperor didn't even have the chance to resist before he died. It wasn't until all the ghost chi was brought into the 6 paths of reincarnation that the surrounding demons and ghosts finally reacted. They could sense that Lin Ling's strength had greatly increased. Unless it was an ancient giant, no one could shake him. Anyone who dared to stop Lin Ling would die. Let's go. Lin Ling can't be messed with. Everyone was planning to leave. Lin Ling was too scary. Did I say you can leave? Stay here. However, as soon as they started to move, a cold voice entered everyone's ears. Lin Ling was not letting them go. What are you trying to do? A demon giant frowned. They had the advantage in numbers. Why should they be afraid of Lin Ling? Leave all the things you've obtained. Lin Ling's expression was cold as he spat out this sentence. His stone sculptures were not that easy to take. What if we refuse? The godly kingdom's elites also spoke. Was it possible for them to hand over the treasures? Then all of you will die. Unfortunately, Lin Ling's next sentence directly announced the date of their death. How dare you? We have the giants of the 4 races gathered here. Do you dare to kill all of us? You should know that doing so is equivalent to offending the 4 races. He definitely wouldn't dare. Although he's the strongest person below the ancient giants, he's not a true ancient giant. Those elites were furious. Did Lin Ling think of them as ants? However, in their anger, they did not realize that Lin Ling did not provoke them in the beginning. They were the ones who snatched Lin Ling's stone sculptures out of greed. At that time, they had already offended Lin Ling. So, to Lin Ling, offending the 4 races was not a big deal. Those who did not comply would be killed. Because in this world, strength was everything. You are indeed ants, Azura realm. Lin Ling's lips curled into a cold smile. To these greedy and shameless people, the only way was to kill them all. He knew very well that although he was the youngest ancient giant, the elites of the other races did not take him seriously. They were only afraid of the people around him, such as Sword Immortal Tsang Tian and the others. But now, Lin Ling was telling them that he could also call himself an ancient giant by himself. Destroy. Rumble. The cold roar seemed to summon the gates of hell to take away all the greedy lives. Pa. In the sky, white flames exploded, burning the bodies of the demons and ghosts on the ground. Moreover, they realized that these flames could not be extinguished. Moreover, their bodies were also flying towards the 6 realms in the sky, entering the cycle of reincarnation. Lin Ling, you really dare to kill us? Those demons and ghosts were shocked. Lin Ling really dared to kill them. One should know that there were hundreds of giants here, and they came from different races. But Lin Ling killed them all. How daring was that? If I want to kill you, do I need to give a heads up? Unfortunately, they were met with a cold and decisive reply. Do I need to give a heads up to kill them? Lin Ling was an ancient giant. If these elites were greedy for his treasures, he would kill them without mercy. Ants. Then, Lin Ling did not even look at those angry elites. He took a step forward. At the same time, a large number of treasures fell from the sky and landed around him. These were the treasures left behind by Li Xiaoyao's stone statue. Those treasures turned into golden dust and floated around Lin Ling. Then, they were slowly absorbed by Lin Ling. Suddenly, a large number of memories rushed into Lin Ling's mind. Rumble. In just a moment, Lin Ling's body exploded with a terrifying aura. He had reached the level 4 Martial Emperor realm. After the level 3 Martial Emperor realm, there was a watershed. When one reached the level 4 Martial Emperor realm, an ordinary elite would have 100,000 laws. As for geniuses, they would have 200,000. However, Lin Ling was even more demonic. He had increased his laws to 500,000. If he used the 6 realms of reincarnation, his laws would reach 1,500,000. Breakthrough in an instant. In the sky, those elites who had not been sucked into the cycle of reincarnation trembled violently. When Lin Ling was at the level 3 Martial Emperor realm, he could kill those at the level 6 Martial Emperor realm. Now, he was probably invincible among those at the level 6 Martial Emperor realm. He is finally rising. Everyone was shocked. The elite seemed to be watching Lin Ling rise like a comet among the 4 races. Chapter 2153. Debt Collection. I'll collect all the debts they owe me. Sensing the crazy power of laws in his body, Lin Ling's sneer deepened. How others treat me, I'll treat them accordingly. The experts of the 4 clans coveted his treasures, so he'll kill them all. With a thought, Lin Ling disappeared without a trace, searching for the giants of the 4 clans in the desert. Die! Die! The ancient desert welcomed a grim reaper. When the giants of the various clans met Lin Ling, only death awaited them. Only when they were about to die did they realize how serious the consequences of threatening Lin Ling were. Along the way, Lin Ling continued to collect the treasures left behind by Li Xiaoyao, which made his realm more stable. Next, Lin Ling cast his gaze on the ancient giants because the treasures on them were the most important. Rumble. At this moment, an earth-shattering sound erupted from Yellow Spring Mountain. The 2 forces collided, and their auras were extremely terrifying. A large number of spectators surrounded Yellow Spring Mountain, including the giants of the various clans and even those who weren't giants. There were also many people from the human clan who came from the ghost realm. Martial god Tianyu, the mortal world's guardian, Taoist came, and the spirit clan's crown prince. So many experts are here. Wow! Those 2 seem to be Yu Yu and an Yuer from the 4 clan competition. They're here too. Wow! Someone exclaimed. Those people were the top existences of the human race. Don't you know? The experts of the 4 clans threatened Lin Ling, forcing Lin Ling to take them to find treasures. They took the treasures, but Lin Ling is dead. Wow! What? The number 1 genius of the human race has fallen? How is that possible? Didn't Lin Ling have a large number of experts by his side? Wow! Did you see that mysterious ancient array in Yellow Spring Mountain? I heard that the ancient giants of the Ghost Clan cheated and trapped all of Lin Ling's disciples. Without those disciples, Lin Ling wouldn't have been able to resist them. How shameless! How shameless! Lin Ling, the number 1 genius of the human race, who would have thought that he would fall here? Everyone said regretfully. Lin Ling was too dazzling, representing the pride of the human race, so the other races joined forces to suppress him. Yellow Spring Great Emperor, Immortal Drunken Wine, Death Arrow Martial God, you are all shameless. In the silence, Taoist Kame's angry voice finally floated out. The war in the ghost domain had shaken the entire domain. Unfortunately, by the time they received the news, it was already too late. They never expected that these hypocritical ancient giants would join forces to kill Lin Ling. Treasures belong to those who are capable. You can only blame Lin Ling for being too greedy and wanting to take everything for himself. Serves him right. On the other side, a cold voice rang out. The one who spoke was the ancient giant of the human race, Drunken Immortal. Staring at the carefree immortal Drunken Wine, many people cursed in their hearts. What a shameless ancient hegemon. He actually colluded with experts from other races. Apart from him, the Death Arrow Martial God from the ancient era was also present. There was also the Yellow Spring Emperor and the Fire Cloud Godly King from the Fire Cloud Empire of the Godly Nation. There were 4 ancient giants on their side. And there were only 3 on Daoist Kame's side. Looks like it's impossible for Daoist Kame and the rest to seek justice. Sigh, if Ancient Charm Martial God and the rest were also here, how would the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest dare to be so arrogant? Everyone could see why the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest were so unrestrained. It turned out that they had more people on their side. And Sword Immortal Tsang Tian and the other experts were said to be trapped in the formation. Obviously, they could not help much. In this world, a dead genius is not considered a genius. A dead ancient giant is also not considered an ancient giant. It can only be said that Lin Ling was too weak, so he was eliminated by the world. At this time, a proud voice floated out, causing everyone to look over. The one who spoke was a young man with long red hair. There was a mysterious fire cloud mark on his forehead. His aura was wise and mighty. It's fire cloud unification. Many people recognized that young man. Because that young man also participated in the 4 races competition. The one who represented the godly nation was the Fire Cloud Empire. However, the most dazzling person in the godly nation was Heavenly God Jiuyang, so Fire Cloud Unification seemed to be a lot dimmer. Nonsense, if you didn't join forces, how could Lin Ling die? You only dare to be proud when Lin Ling is not here. Hearing that, Yu Yu and Anuer said angrily. Fire Cloud Unification is just a trash. During the 4 races competition, did he dare to face Lin Ling? That's right, he only knows how to speak ill of others behind their backs. This Fire Cloud Unification is just so. Many experts on the side of the human race also mocked. Nonsense, Lin Ling is already dead. Now it's our world. We are the youngest ancient giant. However, everyone's mocking words were exchanged with a roar. There were 2 young men beside Fire Cloud Unification, a man and a woman. Their auras were also extremely terrifying. The strength of these 3 people seemed to have reached the level of ancient giants. Lin Ling, what qualifications do you have to be proud? Fire Cloud Unification's long hair fluttered as he coldly spat out, Lin Ling, where are you? Get out here. Get out here. His cold voice floated throughout the entire Yellow Springs mountain. He seemed to want to fight Lin Ling. Unfortunately, the Yellow Springs mountain was silent. Clearly, Lin Ling's voice could not be heard. Do you see? This is the youngest genius of the human race. He doesn't even dare to face me. What a coward. His qualification for the Genesis battle has been taken away, and I will take it. Fire Cloud Unification laughed mockingly. He wanted to prove himself in front of the world's experts. In truth, he wanted to take everything from Lin Ling, including the glory. Shameless. Martial God Tianyue and the others had ugly expressions. Fire Cloud Unification clearly knew that Lin Ling was dead, but he still shouted. Clearly, he was doing it on purpose. The 2 of you also have the qualification for the Genesis battle. Then let's fight. The loser will hand over the qualification. The 2 people next to Fire Cloud Unification looked indifferently at Yu Yu and Anuer. They obviously wanted to take away Anuer's qualification. What qualifications do you have? Seeing this, Kame Daoist immediately shouted angrily. The other party thought too highly of him. However, the 2 people ignored Kame Daoist. Instead, they looked at Yu Yu and the others and said, don't dare to fight? You should know that Lin Ling died in our hands. At that time, his death was very tragic. He was killed by millions of experts. As his wives, don't you dare to take revenge? Yu Yu, Anuer, don't be fooled. They want to take your spot. Martial God Tianyue immediately said. They are the top 5 in the 4 clans competition. Their strength is so great that their name shakes the world. Could it be that they don't even dare to challenge us? The man and woman smiled faintly. Their words were filled with confidence. Hearing this, the crowd's eyes flickered. Yu and Anuer's strength was obvious to all. However, the two people still dared to fight. They were too confident. Why should we be afraid of you? Yu and Anuer's beautiful eyes were filled with murderous intent. They definitely wouldn't refuse this battle. Otherwise, they would feel ashamed to face Lin Ling. In fact, they had a feeling that Lin Ling wasn't dead because Lin Ling wouldn't die so easily. Hehe, looks like the top 5 has changed again. Fire Cloud Unification smiled faintly. He seemed to be extremely confident. Chapter 2154. The shock of returning. I forgot to tell you that the two of us and Fire Cloud return to one strength has greatly increased. As for why we improved, it's all thanks to the stone sculpture left behind by Lin Ling. The man and woman walked out and stated the reason for their confidence. So that's how it is. The crowd was in an uproar. Soon after, they felt that Lin Ling was truly pitiful. His treasure had been obtained by the enemy, and he had actually used it to defeat his wife. Ha! The man and woman laughed heartily. Then, a terrifying power of law erupted from their bodies. I know that all of you are very talented, but for martial artists, talent doesn't mean everything. Both of them were at the 6th rank of the Martial Emperor realm and they had unleashed 800,000 laws. Rumble. The entire Yellow Springs mountain shook, and countless people found it difficult to breathe. As for Yu and the others, their expressions changed drastically. In their eyes, it was as if a barrier had appeared in front of them. Tens of thousands of laws were slicing at them, and the laws of spring, summer, autumn, and winter had appeared. As for the other man, he had sunrise and sunset. This was also an extremely terrifying law of the world, and there were over 900,000 of them. What a powerful power of law! The crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. The two of them were considered half a step into the ranks of ancient giants. There were still 2 years before the Battle of Creation. 2 years later, the two of them would definitely become ancient giants. Fight! Yu and Anuer looked at each other. Their eyes were extremely resolute, and they also erupted with the power of laws. The divine body was multicolored. Although it did not have many laws, its natural talent was still extremely powerful. As for Anuer, she released her soul force and the laws of ice and snow. Like an invisible arrow, she shot forwards. Weak. This is the top 5 of the competition. Trash. You're weak, but so is Lin Ling. However, the man and woman coldly spat out. They frowned and the nomological laws surged even more violently. Bang bang bang. Pop. Pop. The laws collided crazily, crushing Yu and the other girl with sheer numbers, causing the two of them to be in a sorry state for a while. Lin Ling is a disqualified piece of trash, and so are you. As he watched Yu and the others gradually fall into a disadvantageous position, Huiyun Guiyi's lips curled into a disdainful smile. He was very excited in his heart. He never would have thought that among the 4 races where geniuses were as common as clouds, the 3 of them would be the ones to reach the end. Geniuses like Heavenly God 9 Sons had died pitifully. Of course, Lin Ling was even more pitiful. Not only did he eliminate all the geniuses for them, he even left behind a large amount of treasures for them. Defeat. The man and woman's aura rose greatly. After obtaining Lin Ling's stone sculpture, they had also obtained a large number of law martial arts memories. Looks like I'm no match for him. The crowd couldn't help but sigh as they watched the earth-shattering battle. As for Daoist Kame and the others, their expressions were extremely solemn. Yu, go to the Kun position. Use fire to meet fire, and earth to drown water. Use all your laws to attack that position. However, at that moment, a cold voice drifted over Yellow Springs Mountain. The voice was ethereal, hoarse, and cold. It made it impossible to tell if the person was far away or nearby. Yu Yu frowned. The person seemed to be far away, causing the voice to change color. She didn't know who it was. However, she had no other choice. She immediately attacked according to the method that person had pointed out. Bang bang bang. What was surprising was that the terrifying spring, summer, autumn, and winter laws in front of her began to fluctuate. They were affected by her attacks. As for the woman who used the laws, her expression changed drastically. She had obtained the great 4 seasons magic power that Li Xiaoyao had left behind. This was a cultivation technique from the martial god realm. However, there was actually someone in this realm who could break it? This was too strange. Spring, summer, sun, moon, and stars are under my control. The woman coldly spat out a voice. She controlled the changes in the laws. Use water to nourish wood, use metal to break fire, go to the Qian position. Almost at the same time, the ethereal voice sounded again. Boom! Yu Yu followed the direction of the voice and attacked in a direction. Instantly, the world in front of her that was filled with laws shattered like glass. Seeing this, the crowd opened their eyes wide. This was too strange. And Yuer, give up your defense. Go straight to the Yellow Springs from the middle. Break through the intersection of the sun and moon. The voice sounded again, causing Yuer's body to tremble. Her soul power and ice energy shot toward the sun and moon laws. Puff! The man immediately spat out blood. His law martial art was also broken. This caused him to be shocked. Who was this person? Why was he more familiar with the law martial art than him? Good. Seeing Yu Yu and the others turn the tables, martial god Tian Yu and the others immediately became happy. The guardian of the mortal realm even laughed mockingly. You want to get into the top 5 with your strength? The voice was like a silent slap that landed on Huayun Guiyi and the others' faces, causing them to feel a burning pain on their faces. Don't think that you can soar into the sky just because you got Lin Ling's benefits. The trash of the past is still trash today. The humans also cheered. The 3 of them were so proud before, but now they couldn't even withstand a single blow. They were asking for their own humiliation. Huayun Guiyi's face instantly turned ugly. He shouted coldly, "Shut up, all of you." He looked coldly at Yu Yu and Yuer, then the corners of his mouth curled up. The 2 of you, come at me together. Are we afraid of you? After Yu Yu and the others defeated the man and woman, their beautiful eyes stared at Huayun Guiyi and nodded at the same time. Lin Ling's women will die in my hands. The killing intent in Huayun Guiyi's eyes became even more intense, with a hint of madness. Although the 2 women were quite talented, it was impossible for them to defeat him with just that. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. However, just as he was about to move, an ethereal voice slowly drifted over from afar. White flames burned the sky, and a young man in a blue and white robe stepped out and quietly appeared before everyone's eyes. Looking at the majestic figure, the entire Yellow Springs Mountain fell into a dead silence. Because Lin Ling had returned. What? The Yellow Springs Emperor and the others' eyes trembled violently. They had seen Lin Ling being sucked into the void passage with their own eyes. How could Lin Ling not be dead? Spiritual Master came, Yu Yu, and the others were overjoyed. Lin Ling was not dead yet. Indeed, Lin Ling could rely on his perseverance to overcome every great calamity. And today, he had returned once again. After Lin Ling's appearance, Yellow Springs Mountain was undoubtedly in turmoil. Many experts and ancient great heads were silent. Even the weaker ones felt a chill in their hearts. This was because the shadow that the legendary Lin Ling had left in their hearts was far too strong. Lin Ling must have returned to collect his debt. You're not dead. That's good. Then hand over your creation battle slot. The man and woman were shocked for a full incense stick's worth of time before they finally accepted the truth. They sneered because they had lost to Yu and the others. However, they still had a chance, and that was to obtain Lin Ling's slot. Chapter 2155. Villains get their way. Although Lin Ling had been terrifying in the past, their current strength had greatly increased. They should be able to fight Lin Ling. Of course, even if they were not a match for Lin Ling, it should not be difficult for them to escape unscathed. As for the Yellow Spring Great Emperor and the others, they narrowed their eyes and looked deeply at Lin Ling. No one knew what they were thinking. Lose. Attack. The man and woman attacked at the same time. What was infuriating was that they had joined forces and attacked without warning. Lin Ling, be careful. Attack. The sudden change happened too quickly, causing Yu and the others to cry out in worry. This was because the strength of the man and woman was indeed very strong. If it wasn't for the mysterious person's warning, they wouldn't have been able to win. However, they did not know that the mysterious person was Lin Ling. Using my cultivation method to kill me? Attack. Under countless gazes, Lin Ling smiled. His footsteps seemed to pass through the void. He did not use any laws and directly used the godly demon body. Suddenly, something strange happened. Lin Ling seemed to be in danger, but the man and woman's laws brushed past him. Looking at the degree of danger, Lin Ling would have been hit by the laws if he had been just a millimeter away. However, that millimeter never arrived. On the contrary, Lin Ling had already appeared in front of the man, causing the man's expression to change drastically. How was this possible? Die. Attack. The answer was a punch. Boom. The man was killed by a punch. Lin Ling's footsteps did not stop. He crossed the laws of spring, summer, autumn, and winter and instantly arrived in front of the woman. You too. Attack. Could it be that you were the one who warned Yu and the others? Attack. The woman's face was extremely pale, and a guess suddenly arose in her heart. With Lin Ling's strength, it was impossible for him to block their laws. The only explanation was that Lin Ling could easily break their laws. Do you think it's possible to use the laws of martial arts I left behind to kill me? Attack. Lin Ling replied coldly. His fists were like meteors as they blasted out. Bang! The void exploded, and that genius died again. Furthermore, a large amount of golden light enveloped Lin Ling. All the treasures they obtained from the stone sculptures were now returned to Lin Ling. The entire Yellow Spring Mountain was even quieter than before when they saw that Lin Ling had easily killed the two of them. That was because the battle had ended too quickly. Everyone could faintly see that although Lin Ling had missed the treasure they had left behind, his strength was still unfathomable. So it was Brother Ling who warned us earlier. Yu and the others were overjoyed, and many people were also enlightened. 4th level Martial Emperor. At this moment, Fire Cloud Unification finally spoke. He was also paying attention to Lin Ling's battle and was surprised by Lin Ling's strength. As soon as his voice fell, the expressions of the experts of Yellow Springs Mountain changed drastically. Then, they all looked forward to it. Lin Ling, the champion of the 4-race tournament, the number 1 genius of the human race. Fire Cloud Unification, the genius of the 4-race tournament, seemed to have obtained the treasures left behind by Lin Ling. Now, his strength had increased greatly, and he considered himself the number 1 genius of the 4 races. The two of them seemed to be clashing. This was also a crazy clash between a veteran genius and a new rising genius. Of course, Fire Cloud Unification's strength had increased greatly, and he would definitely not let Lin Ling go. At this moment, Lin Ling was floating in the sky, looking at his opponent indifferently. So what if I am? Yes. It's not strange if you are. Lin Ling's talent is stronger, and you seem to have seen through their laws of martial arts. Therefore, defeating them is not worth mentioning. Huayun Gui said indifferently. His words made many people nod their heads. The man and woman's strength had increased, but Lin Ling's strength had also increased. With Lin Ling's monstrous talent, it was indeed possible for him to defeat them. However, you are no match for me. Fire Cloud Unification continued. I am already at the 7th stage of the Martial Emperor realm, the last stage of the Martial Emperor realm. You should know the 3 stages of the Martial Emperor realm, so you should know the gap between us. Yes. The Martial Emperor realm was divided into 3 stages, 4 stages, 6 stages, and 7 stages. These were the 3 stages, and the laws of each stage were extremely terrifying. It was a dividing line. Right now, Fire Cloud Unification was at the 3rd stage, so his strength was definitely not simple. Just a petty person intoxicated by success. In the past, when Heavenly God Nine Suns was here, you didn't even dare to breathe loudly, and you didn't even dare to face me. Today, your strength has increased greatly, and you are proud in front of me. Looking at the confident Fire Cloud Unification, Lin Ling smiled. Heavenly God Nine Suns? It's good that he's dead, but if he's not, I'll kill him because the number 1 genius of the God race is mine. Yes. Fire Cloud Unification felt a little uncomfortable, but he still shook his head. He was very clear about Heavenly God Nine Suns' strength, so he was very confident. As for a petty person intoxicated by success? It's better to say that you're behind, and this is an advantage that geniuses have. It can only be said that you, Lin Ling, were too pedantic, so you were eliminated by heaven and earth. Fire Cloud Unification looked at Lin Ling with disdain, as if he was already high above Lin Ling. Shameless. Hearing those words, Yu and the others narrowed their eyes. How could there be such a shameless person? If not for the statue left behind by Lin Ling, would Fire Cloud Unification dare to say those words now? This was simply a petty person intoxicated by success. However, I won't kill you, because in reality, everyone knows the gap between you and me. Most importantly, the people who want to kill you are them. Fire Cloud Unification looked at the ancient giants behind him. They were the Yellow Spring Great Emperor and the others. At this moment, their eyes were filled with dense killing intent. They indeed wanted to kill Lin Ling, because the enmity had already been formed. It was either you die or I die. Most importantly, Lin Ling had no disciples by his side, so Lin Ling could no longer make them fear him. Didn't you want to defeat Lin Ling? Why are you giving it to us? The Yellow Spring Great Emperor looked at Fire Cloud Unification and said. It's the same no matter who kills me. I don't need to prove myself in front of the world, because everyone can see that Lin Ling will die anyway, so it's the same. Fire Cloud Unification smiled. His words seemed to be saying that Lin Ling was dead for sure, and it didn't matter who killed him. If you kill him, you can take his spot, but if we attack, the spot might not belong to you. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor said indifferently. That's true. Huayun Gui slowly nodded. Although the ancient overlords knew of his strength, the experts of the 4 clans didn't. Therefore, he indeed had to prove himself. Otherwise, others would question his qualifications to participate in the creation battle. You're really giving it to me? However, Fire Cloud Unification still asked. After all, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor and the other ancient giants weren't simple, and he didn't want to offend them easily. Indeed. Immortal Drunken Wine, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor, and the others nodded. Bastard. Seeing those experts treating Lin Ling as prey and condescendingly discussing with no regard for anyone else, Daoist came and the others were furious. If Sword Immortal Tsang and the other experts were here, would the Yellow Spring Great Emperor and the others dare to be arrogant? On the other hand, Lin Ling looked extremely calm, as if he knew that these people who used to be afraid of him were now proud of themselves. In that case, I'll attack. Lin Ling, rank 4 Martial Emperor, your laws should have reached 500,000. You're so pitiful because your woman is stronger than you. Chapter 2156. You're a loser. Unfortunately, my laws have reached 2 million. Moreover, this is because I just broke through. If I was given a little more time, 10 million laws wouldn't be a problem. Step by step, he walked out, and the clouds in the sky seemed to be on fire. Crackling sounds could be heard continuously. Rumble. Yellow Springs Mountain immediately exploded like a volcano. My flame is called the Heavenly Punishment Burning Mountain Flame. Although it's not one of the 10 great divine flames of the world, I have more laws. Rumble. The sky was filled with flames. The clouds were burning. There were tigers and dragons roaring. Some weaker martial artists directly spat out blood. 2 million laws were terrifying. It could be said that even if Heavenly God 9 Sons and Pink Crown Prince were still alive, they would still be defeated by Fire Cloud Unification. This was also the reason why Huiying was so confident. It was because he had the right to be arrogant. In this world, miracles always happen to geniuses. The elites of the various clans were all shocked. From the most ordinary genius to first place, this kind of matter was not often seen, but Huiying had done it. Die. After the laws exploded to their limits, Fire Cloud Unification finally spat out a cold sentence. At this moment, Lin Ling's expression was still calm. His body was also covered in dazzling white flames. It was so gloomy that it seemed to freeze the world. Every step he took was accompanied by the howls of ghosts. At this moment, he seemed more like the Yellow Spring Lord than the Yellow Spring Great Emperor. He stretched out his right hand, and the Yellow Spring flame turned into a huge reincarnation ring. Ring after ring, it surged into the sky. Almost at the same time, the surging power of the laws completely erupted. In an instant, 1,500,000 laws. Although his laws were weaker than Fire Cloud Unification, Lin Ling's talent was stronger than Fire Cloud Unification. What? When the ancient giants saw that, their faces changed drastically. Lin Ling was only at rank 4 Martial Emperor realm, but he possessed 1.5 million precepts. This must be fake. As for Fire Cloud Unification, the arrogance on his face had vanished. In fact, he had already paid enough attention to Lin Ling, but he was certain that Lin Ling was definitely not his match. However, the result was that he had still underestimated Lin Ling. At this moment, he only wanted to retreat. Unfortunately, he was too confident earlier, so it was too late for him to retreat. In the sky, the white 6 paths of reincarnation roared like the hand of the Grim Reaper, causing all the flames in the mountain to shoot up into the sky. Fire Cloud Unification also couldn't control itself and shot up into the sky. You talk so much nonsense, but that's all you have? Almost at the same time, Lin Ling's calm voice exploded in Yellow Springs Mountain like thunder. Lin Ling didn't make a move, but once he did, the heavens and earth changed color. Rumble. The white reincarnation circle in the sky was erupting. On the ground, Fire Cloud Unification's laws and flames were all burned away. Fire Cloud Unification's face was pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Finally, he was able to withstand the powerful force of the sky. What did you say your fire was called? Compared to his wretched state, Lin Ling's expression was calm. He walked out, and with a wave of his sleeves, Fire Cloud Unification's flames were extinguished. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. Even the Yellow Springs Emperor and the others were shocked. Where did Lin Ling go during this period of time? How did his strength increase so quickly? You treated me as prey before. Lin Ling's voice floated over again. The sarcasm was extremely thick. Thump. 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 Fire Cloud Unification took 3 steps back. His face was green and red. He had been humiliated by Lin Ling in their first encounter. Did he have the qualifications to treat Lin Ling as prey? Good, good, good. Very good. If you, Lin Ling, were too weak, I, Fire Cloud Unification, would not be interested. Now, I'm very satisfied with your strength. Fire Cloud Unification said coldly as he suppressed the shock in his heart. His words aroused the interest of many. Fire Cloud Unification didn't seem to have reached his limit. Moreover, the stronger Lin Ling was, the stronger his fighting spirit was. Could it be that Fire Cloud Unification was hiding a trump card? However, thinking about it, he was a rank 7 martial emperor. How could he be defeated so quickly? Interested? Hearing this, Lin Ling sneered. With Fire Cloud Unification's personality, he wanted nothing more than to defeat Lin Ling in one move and win beautifully. It was just that he couldn't do it. That was why he said such hypocritical words. In reality, he wanted to cover up his previous embarrassment. You will know. Watch carefully. Heaven's Punishment Burning Mountain Flame. With a low shout, a mysterious power bloomed. Fire Cloud Unification disappeared. Rumble. The flames that had disappeared began to burn once again. They covered the entire mountain. This was the Heavenly Punishment Mountain Burning Flame. Boom! Almost at the same time, the lightning formed by the flames struck Lin Ling with the might of the heavens. It exploded in front of Lin Ling, causing the ground to crack open. Heaven's Punishment. Heaven's Punishment formed by flames. Could this be Fire Cloud Unification's final trump card? The previous Heaven's Punishment was just a reminder to let you know the power of Heaven's Punishment. Fire Cloud Unification's arrogant voice floated out from the raging flames. It was so ethereal that no one could find a trace of it. And the previous attack was just a reminder? Fire Cloud Unification was very confident. Seeing this, the Emperor of Netherworld and the others laughed. Fire Cloud Unification's law martial technique was not simple. However, Lin Ling also smiled. His left eye blossomed with a demonic light, causing his entire being to become demonic. 1,000 elephant demonic eyes, see through everything. Pa! With a single step, Lin Ling walked towards one of the flames. He reached out with one hand, and with a snap, his left hand grabbed a neck and forcefully pulled a figure out of the flames. You are more useless than I thought. Right in front of everyone's eyes, Lin Ling casually grabbed Fire Cloud Unification and lifted it up. Boom! This change caused an uproar in Netherworld Mountain. That was too easy. A level 4 martial emperor fighting against a level 7 martial emperor could capture someone so easily? How is this possible? At that moment, Fire Cloud Unification's mind was blown. Lin Ling had seen through him. One should know that his law of heaven and earth represented heaven's punishment and heaven's punishment. However, Lin Ling could even capture heaven? He wanted to resist, but the 6 paths of reincarnation in the sky sucked him in, making it impossible for him to resist. Compared to 9 suns God, you are too weak. Even if you have my treasure, you are still useless. Lin Ling said disdainfully. You said I am useless? You actually said I am useless? Fire Cloud Unification's face was extremely ugly. His strength had increased greatly and he should be the most powerful person after the ancient giants. How could Lin Ling call him useless? He was not satisfied. Because if it wasn't for Lin Ling, he, fire cloud unification, would rule the world. Lin Ling nodded slightly and took a deep breath. Suddenly, he shouted, "You are useless." Boom! His voice was like endless thunder, causing countless echoes. Lin Ling was telling fire cloud unification that he was useless. Moreover, he said it in front of everyone, letting his voice spread throughout Netherworld Mountain. Poof! Chapter 2157. Yellow Spring's great emperor, Lin Ling, was the #1 genius of the 4 clans in the past. From the looks of it, he is still the same. No matter how much fire cloud unification strength has increased, he is still a loser to Lin Ling. The crowd looked at Lin Ling solemnly. They realized that no matter what kind of genius rose from the 4 clans, as long as Lin Ling was the #1 genius, no one could ever challenge that position. Fire cloud unification wanting to be arrogant in front of Lin Ling was just a joke. Let him go. At this moment, a cold shout suddenly rang out. It was the Fire Cloud Divine King. At this moment, his expression was extremely ugly. He wanted to see Fire Cloud unification shine, but in the end, all he saw was a loss of face. At this moment, even the Fire Cloud Empire had lost all its face. Therefore, he naturally had to stop such a thing. Do you think you have the right to order me? Lin Ling raised his head and looked over indifferently. Don't forget that we have 4 ancient giants on our side. The Fire Cloud Divine King said coldly, reminding Lin Ling of the difference between the 2 sides. And the truth was indeed so. They had 4 ancient giants on their side, while Lin Ling's side only had 3. If a battle broke out, Lin Ling's side would definitely be defeated. Therefore, you don't dare to fight us head-on. The Fire Cloud Divine King said again. He seemed to know that Lin Ling did not dare to fight them head-on. Then, he saw Lin Ling release Fire Cloud unification and throw him to the other side. Seeing this, not only him, but the others also thought that Lin Ling did not dare to fight them head-on and had completely compromised. However, the crowd was not surprised by Lin Ling's actions. This was because Lin Ling was indeed at a disadvantage when 2 ancient giants clashed. Count yourself lucky. Fire Cloud unification was lucky not to die, so he immediately said coldly. However, such words were undoubtedly mocked by others. Who was the lucky one before? If not for the Fire Cloud Divine King saving him, he, Fire Cloud Return, would have long been slaughtered by Lin Ling. The crowd could see that Fire Cloud Unification Sword's arrogance was only on the surface. There was no arrogance in his body. On the contrary, Lin Ling's arrogance was the true arrogance. It was an arrogance that did not fear the heavens and earth. Alright, today's matter ends here. Fire Cloud Divine King knew this as well. He took a deep look at Lin Ling before saying indifferently. He wanted to leave with his people. Wait. However, just as he moved, a sneer was heard. When everyone looked over, they were shocked to find that the one who spoke was actually Lin Ling. Did you think that I released that trash because I was afraid of you all? At this moment, Lin Ling smiled faintly. His words were confusing. Lin Ling had let them go because he was wary of the 4 ancient giants. Wasn't that the case? Is it not because of fear? The Yellow Spring Emperor also spoke. He squinted his eyes, not understanding what Lin Ling was trying to do. I let him go because I don't care about him. He's just an ant. If I want to kill him, I can do it as I wish. As for why I didn't kill him, it's because I want him to stay and see how insignificant he is. Lin Ling walked out step by step, his voice filled with dominance. Such words undoubtedly caused everyone's expression to change drastically. A terrifying thought rose in their minds. Could it be that Lin Ling had really decided to fight to the death? Could it be that he was not afraid of the Fire Cloud Divine King and the other 3 ancient giants? How was that possible? Lin Ling only had 3 ancient giants on his side. Furthermore, Sword Immortal Tsang Tian and the rest were not around. How could they win? Don't tell me you've really decided to fight. The Yellow Spring Emperor could not help but laugh. Although Lin Ling was monstrous, he had not reached the point where they were afraid of him. I'm sorry, I really wanted to say that. However, Lin Ling's next sentence caused the smiles of the Underworld Emperor and the others to vanish immediately. Lin Ling had indeed decided to fight. This guy. Spiritual Master came and the rest were shocked. The 3 ancient giants seemed unable to stop the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest. However, the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest turned solemn. The Yellow Spring Emperor said coldly, "Don't tell me you're going to fight too." "I'm sorry, that's true." Lin Ling's expression remained calm as if he was not joking. Everyone was shocked when they heard his words. Lin Ling was only a rank for Martial Emperor. However, the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest were experts in the later stage of the Martial Emperor realm. The two were not the same concept at all. Lin Ling had more than 1,000,000 laws, but the Yellow Spring Great Emperor and the others had 100,000,000 laws. How was he going to fight them? Lin Ling was practically throwing his life away. "In fact, I've just learned a technique, so I want to use you ancient giants to practice." However, in everyone's eyes, Lin Ling did not seem to know how to write the word death. He slowly pulled out the sword on his back and pointed it at the Yellow Spring Emperor and the rest. His aura became magnificent at that moment, as if he was a fearless sword god. His words carried the arrogance of a swordsman. Practice? Using ancient giants to practice? Only Lin Ling could say that. The crowd was silent and could only look at Lin Ling speechlessly. Where did this guy go? He seems to be even more arrogant than before. Martial God Tian Yu and the rest smiled bitterly. If it had not been someone else who had said that, they would have turned around and left. However, since it was Lin Ling who had said that, everything was possible. Brother Ling can definitely do it. Compared to the crowd's surprise, Yu and the rest were extremely confident. It was a kind of blind confidence. Even though there was a huge gap between their realms and laws, they had absolute faith in Lin Ling. "You're ambitious. Alright, I'll fight you." The Yellow Spring Emperor took a deep look at Lin Ling and walked out. In fact, he wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Ling. However, he knew that he could not kill Lin Ling with Spiritual Master Kame and a few other experts around him. But now, he had a chance. "I've been waiting for you too." Lin Ling took a step and appeared in the sky, staring coldly at the Yellow Spring Emperor. He had no grudges with the latter, but the latter had framed him for treasures. Lin Ling wanted to take revenge personally. "Your Yellow Spring flame is very powerful. You've cultivated to the Azura realm. Unfortunately, you're still too inexperienced when facing the real Yellow Spring Emperor." The Yellow Spring Emperor was also floating in the sky. The Yellow Spring flame was burning on his body, and his scorching pupils seemed to be burning with flames. Yellow Spring Flame? Sensing the cold flames, the faces of Spiritual Master Kame and the rest turned even more solemn. Lin Ling's strongest technique is the Yellow Spring Flame, and his law is the 6 paths of reincarnation. However, the Yellow Spring Emperor has all of these. Even Lin Ling's Yellow Spring Flame was obtained from the Yellow Spring Emperor. So is the 6 paths of reincarnation. Is this a battle between the new master and the old master? Unfortunately, Lin Ling won't be able to win. From a certain point of view, the Yellow Spring Emperor is Lin Ling's half-master. The crowd was in a heated discussion. No one was optimistic about Lin Ling's chances. The Yellow Spring Emperor had this thought the most. This was also the reason why he dared to fight. It was because he could kill Lin Ling in all aspects. The two of them floated in the sky in silence. An oppressive aura was emitted. The battle between these two ancient giants would undoubtedly shake the four clans. Chapter 2158. Clash of Reincarnation Flames, Trap Me? You will die. Finally, Lin Ling coldly spat out a sentence. His sword was pointed at the Yellow Spring Sovereign. He had not spoken before, but this short sentence represented Lin Ling's determination. Of course, this sentence once again shook the Yellow Spring Mountain because everyone was curious where Lin Ling's confidence came from. In that case, I'll send you into reincarnation. The Yellow Spring Sovereign was not a talkative person. At this moment, he laughed. Boom! Surging white flames swept out like a wave. A large number of lonely souls were crying, and ghost songs were majestic. Rumble. Reincarnation rings began to appear in the sky. Compared to Lin Ling's 6 paths of reincarnation, it was clearly more than twice as strong. Is that your 6 paths of reincarnation? Then let me show you how weak your reincarnation is. The Yellow Spring Sovereign pointed at the sky and allowed his reincarnation to devour. Then, with a boom, the reincarnation rings left behind by Lin Ling were swallowed up like tofu. He's no match at all. Seeing the scene of him easily suppressing his opponent, even more people thought that Lin Ling had a chance to win. Playing with reincarnation? I'm your ancestor. In the sky, the Yellow Spring Sovereign spread his arms. His 6 paths of reincarnation emitted the majesty of heaven and earth, causing all things to enter reincarnation. Hell Path, Hungry Ghost Path, Beast Path, Human Path, Azura Path, Heavenly Path. The voice of the Yellow Spring Sovereign was like the master of heaven and earth. As long as it was anything in heaven and earth, he could control it after death. Even ancient giants could not escape this law. And these terrifying law forces were all suppressing Lin Ling, trying to bring Lin Ling into reincarnation. This feeling of reincarnation made Lin Ling's eyes flicker. This was because he had been using the 6 paths of reincarnation to bring his enemies into reincarnation. And now, for the first time, he experienced being brought into reincarnation. This feeling was quite strange. But at this moment, his left eye emitted a mysterious brilliance. The symbol in his eye also began to squirm. He gradually realized the gap between him and Yi Shiwen. So this is what the heavenly Tao of the 6 paths of reincarnation looks like. The heavenly Tao is mine, and I am the heavenly Tao. The laws are created by me, and all things are controlled by me. This was also a type of boundary energy. However, it was still a little bit away from the true boundary energy. Boom! Stretching out his left hand, Lin Ling's white flames also blossomed from his palm, forming a mysterious cycle. No one doubted the power of the Wheel of Reincarnation, but what shocked them was that Lin Ling actually used the 6 paths of reincarnation to clash with the Yellow Spring's great emperor. You overestimate yourself. Staring at the white flame in Lin Ling's hand, the Yellow Spring Emperor smiled disdainfully. Really? Lin Ling said noncommittally. Then, he raised his left hand, and it was as if endless heavenly fire was sprinkling down. Rumble. In the sky, the rings of reincarnation collided. It was as if 2 ghostly realms and 2 Yellow Springs mountains had appeared in the world. However, one reincarnation circle was huge and turbulent, while the other was like a newly risen sapling. How could a sapling be a match for the older generation of reincarnation circles? Bang! 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 As expected, Lin Ling's rings of reincarnation kept exploding. He was no match for the Yellow Spring's great emperor. Using my methods to deal with me? Seeing this, the Yellow Spring's great emperor's face was full of disdain. He was not surprised by the result. However, Lin Ling did not seem to hear it. Instead, he entered a mysterious state. His left eye saw the martial god world's reincarnation circles, and that was the true reincarnation. Hell path, hungry ghost path, beast path, human path, Azura path. Lin Ling's rings of reincarnation continued to blossom, but each of them was a failure. However, in the next moment, the most terrifying reincarnation circle was born. A total of 10 million laws of power descended. Boom! In the entire Yellow Springs Mountain, except for the ancient giants, all the experts almost knelt down. That was the most terrifying heavenly path of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Only the ancient giants could face it. 10 million laws of power? Huayun Guiyi's face turned even paler. He finally understood why Lin Ling did not care about him. It was because he was indeed an ant. Terrifying. He is only a rank 4 martial emperor, but he has 10 million laws of power. How terrifying. Martial god Tian Yu and the others were shocked. Looking at the Yellow Springs Great Emperor, he was even more shocked than martial god Tian Yu and the others. Only he knew how difficult it was to comprehend the heavenly path. However, Lin Ling had succeeded. Although he had not reached the peak, how long had Lin Ling cultivated? Most importantly, the Yellow Springs Great Emperor knew that Lin Ling had not comprehended the heavenly path before. He had only learned it after seeing the 6 paths of reincarnation. How could that guy comprehend the laws of martial arts without any bottlenecks? It was as simple as eating. I'm surprised. However, you still have to die. The Yellow Springs Great Emperor's heart sank. He activated the 6 paths of reincarnation and devoured Lin Ling's reincarnation circle again. The crowd sighed. Lin Ling was still too weak. What a pity. He had just comprehended the 6 paths of reincarnation, but he still had to die. Reincarnation. The Yellow Springs Great Emperor also knew that Lin Ling was a huge threat. If he did not kill him today, the Yellow Springs Mountain would definitely have a new master in the future. Rumble. The 6 paths of reincarnation emitted a terrifying pressure that caused the sky to change color. Then, it enveloped Lin Ling and finally brought Lin Ling into the reincarnation circle. Once he entered the reincarnation circle, the only outcome was death. Seeing Lin Ling unable to resist at all and disappearing into the reincarnation circle, many people forgot to breathe. He was dead. This time, he was truly dead. However, many people still felt that it was a dream. They believed that Lin Ling was not dead. Perhaps, Lin Ling had created too many miracles, causing them to have such an illusion. This was especially true for Yu Yu and the others. They were extremely nervous right now, but they suppressed their worries. They believed that their man would not die so easily. Dead, he's finally dead. Ha ha ha. Fire Cloud Divine King and the others believed that Lin Ling was truly dead. This was because they believed in the Yellow Springs Great Emperor's strength. The Yellow Springs Great Emperor also smiled. His smile was incomparably relaxed. His greatest threat was finally eliminated. However, his smile quickly froze. In the 6 paths of reincarnation in the sky, a dazzling sword light suddenly appeared. It was a sword light that the Yellow Springs Great Emperor could not see through in his lifetime. The sword ruthlessly slashed out. Reincarnation break. Rumble. A slender figure slowly walked out of the reincarnation circle, causing the flames around the reincarnation circle to dim significantly. The sword in his hand looked ordinary, but there was a white light lingering around the huge sword. It was extremely mysterious. That sword undoubtedly shocked the world. A sword that could break the reincarnation circle. In this world, that person was the first to do so. Thank you for allowing me to comprehend the heavenly Tao. In the sky, that person revealed a smile, but it was a cold smile. He was Lin Ling. Comprehension? Everyone trembled. Could it be that when Lin Ling used the 6 paths of reincarnation previously, he was comprehending? Heavens, Lin Ling actually dared to comprehend while clashing with an ancient giant. This was dancing on a steel wire of death. Comprehension. Chapter 2159. Yellow Spring Mountain Changing Masters, I don't know how you came out of my reincarnation, but you are too arrogant, heavenly Tao. The Yellow Spring Emperor roared as the yellow spring flames surged and turned into a reincarnation circle, enveloping Lin Ling once again. Too weak. In the sky, a peerless sword slashed down like a sword god. Rumble. The 6 paths of reincarnation with 100 million laws was cut apart by the sword once again. This sword was very clear, telling everyone that he was Lin Ling, breaking all laws with a single sword. At this moment, Fire Cloud Deity King and the others' faces changed drastically. Spiritual Master came and the others were also terrified. What kind of sword was that? Why was it so sharp, cutting through laws like cutting vegetables and melons? Impossible. The Yellow Spring Emperor seemed to be a little flustered because the situation in front of him had exceeded his logic. A level 4 martial emperor could actually break through 100 million laws? This must be a joke. Reincarnation. Another reincarnation circle enveloped Lin Ling. Unfortunately, Lin Ling still used a sword, a clean sword, and fiercely split the reincarnation circle into 2. Lin Ling walked down just like that. Pathetic Yellow Spring Emperor, you and I have no enmity, but in order to deal with me, you actually framed me. At that time, you should have known that as long as I, Lin Ling, didn't die, Yellow Spring Mountain would definitely have a new master. This voice was like a cold wind, causing the Yellow Spring Emperor and other ancient giants to feel a chill in their hearts. With their status and strength, they actually felt panic, especially the Yellow Spring Emperor. He had been dominating the reincarnation of others all his life, but this time, he felt as if his reincarnation was being dominated by someone else. At this moment, he suddenly regretted that he shouldn't have provoked Lin Ling. Because, with Lin Ling's vengeful nature, those who provoked him had already entered reincarnation. What other tricks do you have? Show them. Lin Ling walked towards the Yellow Spring Emperor. The whole process was mighty and domineering, suppressing the ancient giants. Lin Ling. After the human race's side recovered from their shock, they cheered wildly. The current Lin Ling wasn't considered an ancient giant? Through this battle, Lin Ling was telling the world that he, Lin Ling, was a true ancient giant. Reincarnation. The Yellow Spring Emperor didn't believe in Lin Ling's words, so useless. Lin Ling directly with his sword. Lin Ling's sword. Many people finally realized that Lin Ling's sword was strange, the mysterious power force sword. That power was extremely shocking. It didn't seem huge, but it seemed to be able to destroy all laws. It was impossible not to be shocked by this mysterious power. Your reincarnation 6 reincarnation is. But Lin Ling had already arrived in front of the Yellow Spring Great Emperor. This caused the Yellow Spring Great Emperor to be stunned. A sense of powerlessness rose in his heart. Even his strongest heavenly Tao was useless against Lin Ling. He could only watch as Lin Ling killed him like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. You should know that as long as I don't die, everyone who harmed me will die. A voice that seemed to have come from the depths of hell drifted out from Lin Ling's mouth. This voice not only frightened the Yellow Spring's Great Emperor, but even the Fire Cloud God King, Immortal Drunken Wine, and the others were afraid. This was because Lin Ling had come to collect his debt. This was the Grim Reaper's revenge. Never had they imagined that after experiencing the 4-clan competition, Lin Ling would actually grow to such an extent, and it hadn't even been a year. Why? Why? The Yellow Spring Great Emperor's body trembled as he glared at the cold young man in front of him. He roared continuously. He was unwilling, extremely unwilling. Do you think that if you get my sculpture, I will get nothing? Let me tell you, I have already obtained the most important thing in the stone sculpture. Moreover, my sword is boundary essence. At this time, Lin Ling's voice drifted into the Yellow Spring monarch's ears, causing him to look over. He immediately discovered that Lin Ling's left eye was very evil. He only took a glance and immediately didn't dare to look again. It was a power that terrified him. However, he was still shocked by boundary essence. Lin Ling had comprehended boundary essence. If he knew that without their cooperation, Lin Ling wouldn't have had this opportunity and wouldn't have been able to comprehend boundary essence, he would definitely vomit blood and die from anger. You can die now. Lin Ling finally emitted a strong killing intent. Wait, I was only forced by them because all the ancient giants wanted to harm you. It's impossible for me to not take action. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor knelt down without any hesitation. He controlled the cycle of life and death, so he was more afraid of death than anyone else. And this straightforward begging for mercy undoubtedly made everyone feel like they were in a dream. A dignified ancient giant was kneeling down and begging for mercy? This was too fake. Lin Ling revealed a disdainful smile. Although I don't want to kill you, have you thought about how many lives were sacrificed because you set up a formation to trap me? At that time, you said that the weak were ants. Now, aren't you an ant? Hearing this, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's eyes became blank. He had never cared about the weak lives, but now that his life and death were controlled by someone else, he finally understood how sad it was. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor wanted to say something, but in fact, he couldn't say anything. You don't have to explain because I'm interested. Lin Ling slashed out, and the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's head fell off. Endless laws gushed out and began to disappear. Moreover, a large amount of yellow spring flame also spread out, as if ashes to ashes, earth to earth. The Yellow Spring Great Emperor had fallen. For many people, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor was a god, but now, Lin Ling had killed a god. Rumble. A powerful suction force gushed out from Lin Ling's body. The stone sculpture seized by the Yellow Spring Great Emperor was absorbed by Lin Ling. Moreover, the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's Yellow Spring Flame was also absorbed by Lin Ling, causing Lin Ling's talent to rise by another grade. Moreover, Lin Ling's 6 paths of reincarnation instantly reached 50 million. Such progress could be said to be skyrocketing. From now on, the reincarnation of this world is under my control. However, Lin Ling did not reveal any pride. With a wave of his sleeve, the 6 paths of reincarnation appeared in the sky, deciding the reincarnation of the 4 races. Boom! Seeing this scene, everyone was moved. This was because a new Yellow Spring Great Emperor was born, and the youngest ancient giant was also born. How terrifying! Fire Cloud Divine King and the others were pale. They never expected that they would witness Lin Ling's crazy rise with their own eyes, and they could do nothing. Fire Cloud Divine King, I wonder who has more people now. Lin Ling's gaze wandered as he stared indifferently at Fire Cloud Divine King. Plop! Fire Cloud Divine King and the other ancient giants' hearts trembled violently. For some reason, Lin Ling's gaze made them afraid. And now, Lin Ling had 4 people on his side, while they only had 3. Moreover, Lin Ling's strength was too brutal. He only needed 1 sword to kill an ancient giant. This made them not dare to fight anymore. Next, let's fight. However, if they did not fight, would Lin Ling not fight? Because today, he came to collect a debt. Fight? Fire Cloud Divine King, Immortal Drunken Wine, and the others' faces turned solemn. Let's fight, why should I be afraid of you? Immortal Drunken Wine suddenly shouted coldly. His body erupted with surging laws, making Fire Cloud Divine King and the others feel that this battle was unavoidable, because the Grim Reaper had come to collect the debt. Since that was the case, then let's fight. Chapter 2160. One by one, because immortal drunken wine had already turned into a cloud and fled. His previous words were just a backup plan. The crowd was stunned. Immortal drunken wine was so afraid of Lin Ling. Damn it! Fire Cloud Divine King and the rest shouted angrily. There were only 2 of them left. Lin Ling, we'll meet again. How could the 2 of them fight? That would be suicide. Therefore, Fire Cloud Divine King and Immortal Drunken Wine left and fled in 2 different directions. They did not care about their faces anymore. This turn of events made Yellow Springs Mountain even more silent. All the ancient giants were afraid of Lin Ling. No one expected this result. The only one left was Fire Cloud Unification. He stood there in a daze, looking at Lin Ling with a gaze of admiration, as though he was looking at an ancient powerhouse. Do you know why I didn't kill you? Lin Ling did not chase after Immortal Drunken Wine and the rest. Too many people owed him a debt, so he could collect it slowly. There was no hurry. I know. Fire Cloud Unification smiled bitterly. He was not a fool, how could he not know? Then do you know what will happen to you? Lin Ling asked again. These words made Fire Cloud Unification tremble. Lin Ling wanted to kill him. Actually, you still have a chance. For example, did you take my things? If you didn't, you can leave now. I, Lin Ling, will not kill you. Lin Ling looked at the depths of Yellow Springs Mountain, checking the ancient array. Fire Cloud Unification could not answer. He must have taken a part of Lin Ling's stone sculpture. Otherwise, he would not have such strength. Since you took it, then die. Moreover, I'm here to collect a debt. You better return my things obediently. Otherwise, when I come knocking on your door, you'll lose your life. Lin Ling did not even look at him. With a slash of his sword, a fatal sword wound appeared on Fire Cloud Unification's neck. That was the Grim Reaper's sword. The number 1 expert below the ancient giants was instantly killed like an ant. So powerful. Seeing this scene, the hearts of the crowd trembled. Some of them had taken the stone sculptures, so they were afraid at this moment. However, there were many people who took Lin Ling's treasures. Could Lin Ling get them back one by one? Many of them were hoping that Lin Ling wouldn't be able to find them. Of course, there were also people who were completely afraid of Lin Ling, so they walked out and handed over the items they had seized. However, Lin Ling took them back one by one. After those stone sculpture fragments returned, he knew even more things in his heart. Moreover, his cultivation base was slowly increasing. 6 Dao Reincarnation. Then, Lin Ling shouted, and the reincarnation circle in the sky emitted a powerful suction force, sucking all the lonely souls in the Yellow Springs Mountain into the reincarnation circle. Rumble, rumble. Instantly, the array hidden in Yellow Springs Mountain began to tremble. In the end, the array shattered because it required an endless stream of lonely souls to support it. Without the lonely souls, the array would cease to exist. They're out. Not long after, several powerful auras burst out. It was Sword Immortal Tsang Tian and the others. After they rushed out of the reincarnation formation, they saw Lin Ling and the others, and they were overjoyed. Master! Martial God Yungu, the Dark Dragon Emperor, and the others rushed over. They were not surprised because they knew that Lin Ling would come to save them sooner or later. Seeing those experts break free, the crowd was even more worried. Lin Ling was already very strong, and now there were several ancient giants around him. Who among the 4 clans could stop him? They're finally out. Spiritual Master came and the others were relieved. Lin Ling could now do whatever he wanted in the four clans. Lin Ling smiled and walked over to Yu Yu and the others. He told them about his experience. Although he described it simply, Yu Yu and the others were still worried. If Lin Ling failed in the other world, he would never be able to return. Spiritual Master came and the others secretly admired Lin Ling. Although Lin Ling's growth was fast, who knew about the setbacks and life-threatening dangers he had to bear? Lin Ling has completely risen. Let's go. The crowd watched as Lin Ling and the others talked, and then they left one after another. Did I say you can leave? However, just as they turned around, Lin Ling's cold voice floated over. Lord Lin Ling, what do you want? The lips of the crowd trembled when they heard that emotionless voice. They hurriedly spoke in a respectful manner. Currently, they had already treated Lin Ling as an ancient great head. If such an expert moved his brows, he could take their lives at any time. I'm going to kill you. Lin Ling smiled and coldly spat out a sentence. The experts of the four clans were shocked. Lin Ling wanted to kill them? Lord, please spare our lives. We didn't offend you. Please spare our lives. Many people were scared pale and directly knelt down. Spare our lives? When you stole my treasures, you didn't spare my life. This world is very fair. If there's a cause, there's an effect. I, Lin Ling, don't kill innocent people. This is the heavenly Tao. The sneer on Lin Ling's face became thicker. He had almost died on the path of the martial god. At that time, who would have helped him? No one. These greedy people only wanted to share his treasures. Therefore, he would kill without mercy. Rumble. The merciless reincarnation bloomed in the sky and brought many people into the 6 paths of reincarnation. These experts were sad, and some even cursed Lin Ling for being too cold-blooded and heartless. In their hearts, Lin Ling had become an ancient giant. Would he casually kill ants like them just because he was unhappy? Actually, you don't have to die because I gave you a chance before. Unfortunately, you were lucky and took me for a fool. However, Lin Ling sneered and made those who were about to die look at the ground. Only then did they realize that not everyone had to die. Those who didn't take Lin Ling's treasures didn't have to die, and those who took the treasures but handed them over didn't have to die either. At this moment, those who were about to die regretted it. They shouldn't have taken Lin Ling for a fool. They shouldn't have thought that they were lucky, and they shouldn't have shared Lin Ling's treasures. One wrong step, and they lost everything. Their strength was placed in the 4 clans, and each of them was an existence that could be called a king. Unfortunately, after taking a wrong step, they entered the cycle of reincarnation. All of this was just as Lin Ling said. There was a cause, and there was an effect. When they were greedy for Lin Ling's treasures, Lin Ling would definitely kill them if he didn't die. This was the effect. Fortunately, I handed it over before, or else I would be dead now. Lin Ling didn't kill us all. He gave us a chance. The battle of creation hasn't even begun, but he seems to be ruling the world. Those who were lucky enough to escape the calamity on the ground were all excited. Moreover, they kowtowed to Lin Ling as if Lin Ling was the ruler of the world. Lin Ling didn't even look at those experts on the ground. After taking back the stone statue fragments, he left with Yu Yu and the others. Next, I'll collect the debts one by one. However, everyone still heard Lin Ling's words. He wanted to collect the debts one by one. Without a doubt, this news was like a bolt from the blue, and they couldn't react at all. Chapter 2161. Debt collection. Following Lin Ling, martial god Tian Yu and the others were also shocked. They stared at the leading figure in front of them. They never thought that the little guy they met in the past would have grown to such an extent. It could be said that in terms of power, no one could threaten Lin Ling. In terms of personal strength, Lin Ling was also a monstrous existence. Dominating the world, this did not seem to be difficult. Lin Ling, what kind of power did you use to defeat the Yellow Spring Emperor? Interesting. At this time, Daoist came suddenly asked curiously because he also could not understand that sword. Lin Ling smiled and said without hiding anything, boundary origin. Boundary origin. What? Boundary origin? Boundary origin. Hearing this, the faces of the ancient giants changed. Lin Ling actually comprehended boundary origin? This was an existence that surpassed the power of law. As expected of Li Xiaoyao's reincarnation. Boundary origin. Daoist came smiled bitterly. In the past, Li Xiaoyao was the first to comprehend boundary origin. Today, Lin Ling was also the first to comprehend boundary origin. Everything was like a dream. Comprehending boundary origin depends on luck. If I did not encounter someone's help, would not have succeeded. Lin Ling was not greedy and said modestly. Breaking the reincarnation cycle with a sword, was that the power of boundary origin? So powerful. Boundary origin. The guardian of the human world said with great yearning. He was very clear that with the two words boundary origin, these ancient giants would have to follow Lin Ling's lead. Lin Ling nodded. In fact, he was not very familiar with boundary origin. However, he was sure that with boundary origin, he could destroy all laws. Of course, compared to boundary origin, Lin Ling was more surprised by the power of his left eye. Because previously, he had only used a short time to upgrade the 6 paths of reincarnation. The power of the 10,000 elephant demon eyes was indeed heaven-defying. After everyone returned to the rainforest sacred land, they rested for a short while. At this moment, among the 4 clans, a sensational news spread. Because Lin Ling had returned. Under the joint attack of the ancient giants of the 4 clans, Lin Ling did not die. Instead, he returned like a king. This undoubtedly made everyone feel that it was unreal. And rumor had it that Lin Ling was going to collect the debt from the ancient giants one by one. Lin Ling was treating the ancient era's giants as trash and ants. Although the news was shocking, the experts of the human race, god, demon, and ghost race, they were all looking forward to seeing if Lin Ling could sweep all the ancient giants. As for the ancient giants of the various clans, they were not origin. First, Lin Ling. Second, Lin was Lin Ling of the mean origin. I don't believe that he would dare to come to our door and demand payment. In the nation of God, the Sun God King coldly yelled. Beside him was the immortal God King. He was also surprised that Lin Ling didn't die, but he wasn't too afraid of Lin Ling. Origin. Origin. Of the demon devil of the devils was of the domain of the demon realm. Them. Fire Cloud Divine King hasn't returned yet? Origin to origin. Origin to origin, origin to origin. 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 What a disgrace. Origin to origin. Origin to origin. Origin to origin. Origin to Lin Ling. Let's see if he has the strength. The same thing happened in the demon realm. Origin to origin, origin to origin. Origin to origin. Origin to origin. They didn't believe that Lin Ling would be so arrogant. To put it bluntly, it was because they were too strong. They represented the kings of their clans. When had they ever been threatened like this? Night. Lin Ling sat cross-legged in the sacred rainforest. Beside him were Yu, An Yuer, Yuman Yun, Fire Spirit Princess, and the others. These women had followed Lin Ling for a long time. In Lin Ling's heart, they were all his women. Lin Ling also told them about Xian Yuan Gur and Yuan Shi Gur. Everyone approved of Xian Yuan Gur. As for Yuan Shi Gur, although she liked Lin Ling did not admit it. However, Lin Ling had implicated her in this matter. Therefore, Lin Ling would definitely save the two of them. Lin Ling, are you going to the martial god realm? The girls were all worried. Lin Ling was strong enough to dominate this realm. However, it might not be the case if he went to the martial god realm. Lin Ling smiled at the girls. Life is full of challenges. An overly stable environment will make people slack off. Moreover, Li Xiaoyao has been to the martial god realm. However, I will only know what happened there when I go. Currently, although Lin Ling had obtained the majority of the stone sculptures, Li Xiaoyao's experience in the martial god realm had not allowed him to obtain those stone sculpture fragments. Thinking about it, those stone sculpture fragments should be with the ancient giants. Moreover, if I don't go to the martial god realm, Xian Yuan Gur and the others won't be able to be saved. Alright, we will support you. The girls said with a smile. This made Lin Ling feel extremely gratified. His wives were all very beautiful and kind. To have such close friends in life, what regrets did he have? That night, Lin Ling accompanied them and chatted. Before leaving, he planned to let Yu and Yuer enter another realm to comprehend their own realm. The next day, Lin Ling woke up early and carried Lin Yi to the rainforest sacred land. There were already a large number of experts gathered there. His 3 disciples, Daoist came and other ancient giants. They all looked at Lin Ling and sighed in their hearts. The current Lin Ling had already been titled as the sovereign of the human race. Lin Ling also felt that he was dreaming. In the past, he had always wanted to rule the world and dominate the mountains and rivers. Now, he had done it. However, thinking about the next debt collection, Lin Ling had a headache. Because there were many ancient giants who had robbed him of his treasures, and they were scattered. If he went to collect the debt one by one, it would take a lot of time. The main reason was that Xian Yuan Gur and the others couldn't wait that long. Let's go. After shaking his head, Lin Ling shouted coldly. Everyone followed him and left the rainforest sacred land. Father, where are we going? Lin Yi blinked his big eyes and asked curiously. He was extremely proud because he knew that his father had become the strongest expert of the human race. Therefore, in his heart, his father had become even more majestic and could withstand all storms. Drunken immortal in. Lin Ling replied with a smile. Drunken immortal, this guy, is unlucky to be the first to be chosen by Lin Ling. Hearing that, many people laughed and shook their heads. At present, Lin Ling was so domineering. Whoever he took a fancy to would be unlucky. The Immortal Indulgence Inn was an existence that was like a paradise in the ocean, and it was a place that many experts yearned to head to. Because they knew that a top expert that was isolated from the rest of the world resided on the island in the paradise. Moreover, the wine of the Immortal Indulgence Inn was a rare treasure that was capable of improving one's cultivation, yet it wasn't something that everyone could purchase. However, on this day, a large number of experts were welcomed on that fairyland island. So many people are here to drink? How ostentatious. Are you crazy? Those people don't look like they are here to drink. Could it be Lin Ling? The crowd suddenly thought of the sensational news that had happened not long ago. In fact, they all thought that the news was just a rumor. After all, Drunken Immortal was an ancient giant. He was not someone that Lin Ling could step on as he wished. Chapter 2162. Kill. Is the blue-robed young man holding the child Lin Ling? He's so young. He's actually carrying a child, he's really calm. Many people stared at the sky and saw the legendary figure. Some of the women's hearts even jumped. They had heard of Lin Ling's name long ago. Today, when they saw him, they found that Lin Ling was even more elegant than the rumors said. On the island, there was a huge ancient building. It was the Drunken Immortal Inn. According to legend, those who came here to drink, even immortals would get drunk. Who are you? Come. Several fairy-like women wearing white dresses flew out from the ancient building. They were obviously from the Drunken Immortal Inn. Scram! Those who come to this island must follow the rules of the Drunken Immortal Inn. One of the good-looking women shouted. For so many years, the Drunken Immortal Inn must have encountered people who came to provoke them. The result was that each and every one of them left with a loss. Over time, these women's hearts were higher than the sky. Scram! Lin Ling couldn't help but laugh, and the people behind him also laughed. Although Immortal Drunken Wine was an ancient giant, it depended on who he was facing. In front of Lin Ling, he didn't have the qualifications to put on airs. Sisters, we're here to collect debts, not to cause trouble. Lin Yi blinked his big eyes and said. He wanted to tell these women that they were here to look for Immortal Drunken Wine. Child, don't talk nonsense, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. Now, tell your father and the others to scram. The fairy-like women coldly shouted. Although they knew that the person opposite them was Lin Ling, they didn't believe that Lin Ling had the qualifications to look for Immortal Drunken Wine. My patience is limited, so all of you, scram. Scram. Lin Ling was still smiling, but his smile was a little cold. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. He naturally wouldn't make things difficult for these women, but they couldn't see the reality. Tell your master, Immortal Drunken Wine, to get out here. He dared to take my things, but he doesn't have the guts to face me. Scram. Lin Ling waved his sleeve, and the women in the sky were forcibly pressed to the ground, while Lin Ling walked forward step by step. Who asked you to fly so high in front of me? Scram. Everyone heard Lin Ling's domineering words. This was a true ancient giant. You. Scram. These women had never been humiliated like this, because anyone who came here would treat them like a madam. Unfortunately, no matter how angry they were not as strong as him, so they could only sulk in secret. Young Immortal Drunken Wine. The others looked at them and shook their heads one after another. Even they thought that those women idolized him so much that they couldn't see reality clearly. Immortal Drunken Wine. At this moment, Lin Ling faintly spoke. However, the ancient tower in front of them remained silent. Immortal Drunken Wine was nowhere to be seen. But Lin Ling could see with his left eye that Immortal Drunken Wine was there. Ever since his left eye merged with the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes, it could see through more things. It was like an upgraded version of the Eye of Time. Boom! With a wave of his sleeve, the law surged out, and the Immortal Drunken Wine collapsed. The rumbling sound was shocking. You're courting death. Bastard! Seeing this, the women angrily shouted. Lin Ling destroyed an ancient wine shop with millions of years of history? Lin Ling was too arrogant. The crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. Only Lin Ling dared to destroy the Immortal Drunken Wine shop. Our master is not here, or you wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. The leader of the women said disdainfully. She thought that Lin Ling was taking advantage of the absence of their master to be so arrogant. However, Lin Ling didn't care about them. Instead, he mocked, Immortal Drunken Wine, do you think you can hide? Debt must be repaid. This is the law of heaven and earth. Whitey, Blackie, flatten the Immortal Drunken Wine shop. I want to see if that turtle will come out. Yes, master. The Firmament Sword Immortal and the Dark Dragon Emperor flew out and attacked the island, flattening it. How crazy! The crowd trembled with fear when they saw Lin Ling sweep through the crowd without saying a word. Hide? Lin Ling, you think too highly of yourself. Our master is not here. Do you really think he's hiding from you? As for the women, they were all gnashing their teeth. However, as soon as they finished speaking, a figure flew out from the ground. That person was wearing a long white robe. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and he looked indescribably handsome. However, he was in a sorry state, and his face was extremely ugly. He was Immortal Drunken Wine. Seeing this, the crowd fell silent. Especially the few arrogant women, their mouths were wide open at this moment. Their master was really here? But why didn't he dare to come out? Was he really afraid of Lin Ling? Instantly, the women began to feel guilty. Lin Ling, don't go too far. Immortal Drunken Wine was furious. He looked at the destroyed island and was furious. Lin Ling wanted to embarrass him on purpose. If he didn't come out, he would bombard him until he came out. He wanted to make him, an ancient magnate, lose face. Return the money. However, compared to Immortal Drunken Wine's anger, Lin Ling said lazily. His attitude made Immortal Drunken Wine even angrier. He was an ancient magnate. Among the countless experts of the human race, he was one of the top 10. Amir Jr. dared to ask him to return the money? Don't be too arrogant. A warrior prefers death to humiliation. Immortal Drunken Wine's body suddenly emitted a terrifying aura. His subordinates were looking forward to it because their master was finally going to make a move. I gave you face, but you don't want it. Kill. However, that aura did not affect Lin Ling at all. Instead, he coldly spat out a sentence. Kill. Sword Immortal Tsang Tian, Dark Dragon Emperor, Ancient Martial God Yun and the others immediately flew over and unleashed the same terrifying power of law. In just one exchange, Immortal Drunken Wine's face turned pale. In fact, he couldn't even defeat Sword Immortal Tsang Tian, let alone the three of them together. I'll return the money. Under the countless gazes, Immortal Drunken Wine directly begged for mercy. Their shameful appearance had undoubtedly caused those women to become dispirited. Immortal Drunken Wine, a hidden expert of the human race, one of the ancient magnate. No matter where he was placed, he was an existence that looked down on the world. But today, he knelt down and begged for mercy. Kill. However, Lin Ling did not even look at him. He directly turned and left. No. Immortal Drunken Wine's face was filled with fear. He had already begged for mercy, but Lin Ling still wanted to kill him? I'm an ancient magnate of the human race. Lin Ling, spare my life. On account of the fact that we're both humans, spare my life. I was blinded by greed, but everyone makes mistakes. You should give me a chance to change. Immortal Drunken Wine's begging voice resounded throughout the sky. His life was now in the hands of Lin Ling. All of this made the crowd feel like they were in a dream. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.